Hello. Now you can hear me, but can't see me. But it's all right. I'm getting there. There we go. Fabulous. We now have audio and video. Excellent. It was a fabulous intro. It's a shame you missed it.
Yes, you're live. We even caught you singing at the beginning.
Really? Oh, fair enough. That was me trying to get the audio sorted. I had the video sorted. No wonder YouTube was happy. It thought, only half the bandwidth needed. She's on tonight. And then I realised you couldn't hear me. But I'm here now. Hello, Renee. Renee's in very early, especially considering you're on holiday enjoying yourself. Hello, Jonathan. Yay! Hello, Debbie. Who else have we got here? I'm going to need to make this bigger. There's no exception to it. Right, there we go. Now I can read it. Hello, Kim. And who else have we got in here?
Me.
You. Mike's here. Yay! That's good. Hello, Deb. And keep going. Hello, Peter. Who else have we got? Oh, there's Graham. Hey, and Carol. Hello, Carol. You know, every time I see Carol, I think of her own book club. And I've literally just signed up for all 3 books.
I've just got an email.
But the thing is, handily, you wouldn't believe this, the 3rd book, Write Useful Books, I've literally just read it. Literally this week. So that worked out perfectly. So awesome. And it's on Tuesday afternoon, that. So, yeah, no late nights on Monday. Naughty, naughty. Oh, so hello, Paul. I think I've got everybody. If I've forgotten, then shout at me. Hello, Terry. Oh, and of course, if Peter's in, Annie's in. Yay. Awesome. So everything's fine and dandy, she said. Yeah. No. Everything's gone wrong, will go wrong, and has gone wrong. Unless it does that thing it's been doing. You know, where it makes my slides all psychedelic. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But I will say, Microsoft updated PowerPoint. Don't ever do that again, Microsoft. You've broken so much, it's frightening. But we will press on regardless and see how it goes. Or will we? Do you know what else I've forgotten?
To press record?
To press record. Let's have a look. I have audio. It's fine. Let me just see. Did I actually forget to press record? I did. You know why, don't you? I'll go and do it now. You can watch me do it, and then you'll know I've done it. Right, let's get the Camtasia 2020 thing out and do that. That was because I'm actually running... No, we don't want you. We want you. Right, there we go. There's Camtasia. So all of that's happening. But that was because I had to open this, which is ScreenFlow. Now, you might be wondering, why am I opening ScreenFlow if I'm recording with Camtasia? But there is logic there. Trust me. That should... What's in here should tell you what's coming up later. Mac microphone as a backup and webcam. Webcam. Which means there might just be an unboxing if everything's working fine. Which is a big if, obviously. But I digress. Let's head off and have a look what we're aiming for tonight. Which is the week at MacBites headquarters, although it's been a pretty quiet week-ish. It's not been without calamity, but you know, not the usual level. Then we have updates to Notion. Then we have the Idiot Outside. Obviously got that for Christmas. We've got updates to Craft. I'd love to show you all of the updates, but some of them are conditional on iOS 15, and that's a long story. Then there's Documents X or Documents 10. I'm saying Documents X, but I don't know. It's a new version of Documents from Readle, which was my intro to Readle many years ago, and it's really useful. It's totally free, and it doesn't nag about upgrades, which is impressive. Then we've got the Build With Me Vivaldi, where we are looking at sessions and history. Sessions are so useful. I've actually just created a session myself, but I will reveal all later. Then Mike is showing us some new features in Excel. Who knew there were new features in Excel? I didn't know there were, but there is. And then in Scrivener, we've got our introduction to styles. Now, styles come into their own when we're compiling, but we have to create them first. So that's where we're at, because compile is only a couple of sessions away now. And compile will go on for a good couple of weeks, if not 3 or 4, because there's so much to it. And then, camera willing, and it was working before, there'll be an unboxing of something that I guarantee good 90% of you will be very interested in. because I didn't need one and I was very interested. Mind you, that doesn't say much, does it? Right, we're broadcasting. No. Oh no, what?
Carol hit the deck falling over in the middle of the road.
Oh no! Calamitous week is with Carol this week. Oh no. Right, we're broadcasting in 1080p, but what are you viewing in? YouTube surpassed themselves this week with me. It looked like it was 240. Is it 240 or 244? It was appalling. So I pressed the button to make it high def, and it still looked the same. And I had to refresh to get it to look anything like. But while it was absolutely awful, it was telling me it was high definition. So if it looks ropey, it shouldn't look ropey. Refresh. So make sure it's in 1080p, and if it still doesn't look right, refresh. You never know. While you're down there is a like button. If you would hit that like button, that would make me very happy. And who wouldn't want me very happy? Isn't that right, Mike?
Correct.
Indeed. Right, so our week at MacBites headquarters started last Saturday, which was a music day, all day. And then we had our delivery, our Tesco delivery as well, didn't we? He was early again. But we went into Brooklyn's by request, Brooklyn's 196 by request, where the theme was one I thought of ages ago, but we finally did it. Technology through the ages. Oh, it was fun. Some were flummoxed, but there's quite a lot that you can pick. Trains, planes, automobiles, phones, computers. What else did we have? Oh, Video Kill the Radio Star. It was fantastic. The Tesco man got told to wait, didn't he?
He did.
He was early
I had to press the button.
So he opened the door and said, "You'll have to wait," and slammed the door again. So he unpacked. In his defence, he did knock first, but they don't seem to be able to tell the time, don't Tesco? On Sunday, I was supposedly busy, but then I found there'd been an update in Vivaldi, and it wasn't even documented, and I'm like, oh, this is fabulous. So I spent all day playing with it and tweaking it. So yeah, should have done more on Sunday, but the fact was I didn't. I was preparing myself for Monday because it was all tricky, actually, wasn't it, Mike? Because Tuesday is MacBites Day. Have you noticed how many shows there's been?
What?
Consecutively on a Tuesday, or even a day early on a Monday, because there was a MacBites Live. Yeah, I know, it's amazing. It's not surprising young Jonathan needs to lie down every now and then, is it? It's a shock. Kill the poor lad. So Monday was iOS 15 day. So half the show had to be done before we updated, just in case you never heard from us again. And then we did the update. And then we recorded another bit of the show, don't know if you could tell the join in the middle, of what happened during the update, and it was quite painless. I was scared, because it was that painless. Although I haven't done the phone yet, which will come into significance later. So once we'd done the deed, we dived back into the studio for the second half of the show, which meant an overnight edit into the small hours of Tuesday. But before I could do anything in terms of releasing the show on Tuesday, it was the full governor's meeting. Have you ever been in one of those meetings and the atmosphere's totally off? And you think, I can't say anything because nobody's in the humour for it. It was one of the, I'll summarise the meeting for you. It was on Zoom, and it was one of those Zoom meetings where you go in and you know me. I'm like, hi! I went in and just the look on everybody's face was enough. And I thought, well, I'll wait until I'm spoken to. And I wasn't spoken to. Nobody said hello. Nobody said anything. So yeah, love those kind of meetings. Not. Luckily, as soon as it was over, we were into MacBites mode and we were back to being happy and joyful. There's something wrong with people in a meeting like that.
Jonathan loved the MacBites.
Oh, good, yes. The vagaries of the Mooloo. If you haven't heard the show or you don't listen to MacBites, you really need to. This is a valid piece of tech this week. It's the creation of German scientists who are teaching cows to use the facilities. Not even joking. So if you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. Oh, and the other thing that was in it was the high amplitude vibrations, which are killing iPhones the world over. Don't think about what Apple did with the iPhone, but you need to hear the show for all of that. Oh, we had great fun. Wednesday, I was up really late. I think I worked all night, didn't I, Tuesday? I think I did. I think it was 9 o'clock when I got to bed in the morning. So I had to be dragged kicking and screaming out of bed because there was an event, the Surface event. Let me know in the chat, did you partake of the Surface event? I did, sat glued to it. The best thing, I don't know whether they're aware of this, but the best thing was, you know that keyboard thing that you've got, the fabricy one that you pull forward?
Yeah.
Poor Mike, he's half asleep here. Well, you see how it's joined onto that, I nearly said iPad, but you know what I mean, Surface at the back.
Yeah.
The pencil now sits in a secret pouch hidden in the keyboard, which I thought was genius. That way, it's not like the Apple one where it's stuck on the side and it falls off the second it goes in your bag. Oh, that's lovely. I'm liking that. Would I buy one for that feature? Well, not necessarily, no. But the Surface event was actually really good. They didn't lose the feed. That's always a start, isn't it? Panos did it, and he does worry me as a presenter. He's so intense. But it was a good show. It was a very good show. I enjoyed that. I can honestly say I enjoyed it much, much, much more than Mike enjoyed the Tin Pot Cup. Now, I know it's pronounced Carabao, isn't it?
Carabao.
Oh, yeah, well, whatever. It's the League Cup as was, the English Football League Cup. It's always been like the poor man of the FA Cup, so nobody's that bothered about it. Unless it was the year Mike and I got together, and that was the final we ended up at Wembley, and then obviously it mattered if we won. Because his nerve would have gone asking me out at the end of it if they hadn't won. But they did. But this cup nobody cares about, which is just as well.
That looks like a cow. Well,
bad words were said. Very, very bad words were said. Because while the stats won't mean much to most of you, obviously the one at the top's the important one. They lost 1-0 to West Ham at home. That's not good. But if you look at the stats, United had more shots on target, more possession, more passes, more accurate passes. And guess what? They still lost 1-0. So, one of those games that would have been difficult to lose that they lost. But I said to Mike, it doesn't matter. They're obviously going for bigger fish this year. But it still didn't put a smile on his face, so let's leave it alone and head into Thursday, where I'd spent all week waiting. This is what my life has become. The stuff that didn't arrive with Tesco, early man, on Saturday, I put in the basket, and then it disappears out of the basket because Morrison's do this weird thing of if you put it in your basket, that doesn't mean it's yours. Can you imagine if this happened in store, where the staff could wander around and take stuff out of your basket and give it somebody else? But that's what happens online. Oh, yeah. So it took me until the small hours of Wednesday to get enough in the basket to warrant placing the order. So everything was grand. It was going to be delivered on Thursday afternoon, which was fine.
That would be like stopping you joining the queue in a bricks and mortar Tesco because you haven't got enough in your basket.
Yeah, it'll come. The day will come, Mike. Oh, that's presupposing you've got petrol to get there, because we've got no petrol now either. So everything was fine. They start packing my basket, at which point they tell me there's 2 items missing. Really? That's going to ruin my full English now. We'd actually managed, or we thought we had, to find some berry black pudding without actually going to Bury, because, not leaving the house and all that. And then they didn't deliver it. Oh, and it was gluten-free as well. Oh, why are people buying gluten-free if you're not gluten-free? That's like buying petrol if you've not got a car. But that's what happened. So I then said bad words, which took us on to today. And I must admit, I haven't really bothered with this, but it's iPhone 13 day. That's delivery day. Obviously, we didn't order. We told you we didn't, and we didn't. But it is iOS 13 day, iPhone 13 day. So if you did, let us know in the chat, and congratulations to you. Now, normally, it being Friday, that's where we stop. But I can't stop there this week. No, I'm going into tomorrow. So now I know what's happening ahead of time tomorrow on the 25th. Happy birthday, Graham. I have not forgotten. Oh, no. It's tomorrow. Do have the most amazing day. We'll do that again should we be on after midnight. But there you go. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Graham. And I saw that and I thought that's just the kind of cake that I think Graham might be tempted with. And now I'm looking at it, I think it's just the type of cake that Mike would be tempted with, wouldn't it?
Haven't seen it yet. 30 seconds behind.
Oh, right. I've only put 6 candles on it.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
And it's got the chocolate stars on and everything. All the things I put on yours that was about 10 inches tall. So, let's get on with what we've got tonight. So, there's been a Notion update. In fact, there's probably been several updates to Notion. So, I'm going to start... I'll show you the what's new thing. That's probably a good place to start, isn't it? Let's see if all of this works. So I'm putting notes on the other one now. So it's that one there. Let's see if that works. Oh, I think it might. Don't count my chickens though. Yes, I think it is. Oh, awesome. Right. Okay, so let's get into Notion. Where is my Notion? So I'm going to take you through what's new. So let's get rid of those and get that on there. So here's what's new. It doesn't sound like much. So better comments. But actually what they've done with it, and I noticed they'd already done this before they announced it 3 days ago. So I'd noticed this inadvertently about a week ago and thought, what's going on? I thought I better wait until they release it and then I know exactly what's going on. But in essence, what we have here is better comments in terms of a whole new way to access them. So let's get, I had a page in here. I did. It'll be in this one. It'll be down the bottom, down there. Right, here's my comments page. So I have a page. There's no comments on it yet. All right, there's a few ways that you can work with comments. So the first thing you've got is there can be page comments. Now you'll notice here that there aren't page comments, but you can add at page level a comment. So just so we know that this is a page, I'm just going to put an icon on it. And then you can choose to add a cover. Now sometimes a cover makes a lot of sense. So I have my Ship 30 for 30, which has a cover on it. My Scrivener series has a cover on it when it thinks about loading it in. And the Build With Me Vivaldi, does that have a cover on it? It does. There we go. So that's what I do to indicate to me that it's a proper page that I'm working with. So you can add a cover in there, which will let you choose either from your system. I don't know why it's picked that. I have no idea why it's picked that. But if you change it, you can choose from the NASA archive or the Met Museum or many other places. You can upload one of your own, or you can use Unsplash. So much of the time, I'm doing books and things like that. Right, once you've got it on there, you can reposition it if you want. So you can just drag this to reposition it. So I'll have it fairly in the middle and then save the position. And the last option you've got, so you had 3 initially, but now you've already got the icon and you've got the page heading at the top. Now you can add a comment. So, comment added at page level. Now, that was all you used to be able to do. There was only one extra thing you could do in there, which is you could @ somebody. So I could @ Mike, and then he would get a notification of that comment. But if you're working on your own, you might think, well, I'm never going to need page comments. Oh, no, page comments are fabulous. Page comments are where you leave instructions to your future self of either where you were up to or what you were thinking about without having to add it to the actual contents. Now, initially, that was all you could do. So you would press enter and you would have a page comment, and that is where they would appear. And then it gave you an empty comment for a new comment. But let's go another new comment. Now you can add files to your comments. So before you couldn't, you could only put text in it. You can add a person, a page, or a date. And this is the button then to post it. So if you click that, that will post it. So those little options are new. Now, how I found out about that, Michael Snigger now, I had to delete it and start again. But we drag emails into here. So what that looks like is folder for the comms. Right, I have a range of emails over here. And this is what they look like when they're exported. So forget these things at the bottom. It's like that's the VIP one and that's the MacBites one. So that's what they look like. And there's all the stuff inside. And what I need to do with that is in the relevant place, which wouldn't be in this page, obviously. I would drag that and put it inside the content of the page. Only I inadvertently, because before it would never have made a difference, inadvertently dropped it there and thought, whoa, what's going on? That would normally never happen. But what it's allowing you to do is to put attachments inside your comments. So I'm sat there with an attachment inside my comment thinking, That isn't actually where I wanted it. I wanted it in the page. So if you want to take it away, you just have to hover and hit the cross. But it's actually quite nice that it does let you put in attachments, images in this case, and then put whatever text you need. So here's the image. And paste that in. And that's what it looks like when you do. So just a really nice way to work. Now, what they are recognising at this stage is, because there's different types of comments, you don't want all the comments all over the place. So down here, this is a whole block. It's just text, but it's a block. But when you hit the domino button here with 6 dots on, you have the ability to add a comment. And this time the comment is applied to that block. So it's not at the top of the page with all the other comments. It's in that block. So please check this. And that comment shows over here in the bubble. It says there's one comment, and you can click it and it opens up in a popover and you can read it. And then you can add another one. How about check again? I've changed the text. Right. Now, I use this to myself, but I also use it to Mike as well. But the only way for Mike to get a notification is to put an @ mention in it. Now it says there's 2 comments. You can even get more granular than that. Right? If you think that that word might need to be something else, you can actually put a comment on just that one word. Should we change the verb? Right, and that's just on that one word. That shows exactly the same as if it applied to the whole thing, but it's just that bit more granular. But the problem is, you come into a page like this, and there's comments all over the place. So what Notion have done, they've added this button here at the top, that one there, which won't surprise you if I tell you it's a comments button, view all comments. And what we've now got is all of the comments on the page. You'll notice here where we had the speech bubbles, they've disappeared because that would just be too distracting. You've already got those over here. But it's also put the comments that you've got at the top of the page. So it's a one-stop shop for all the comments in a particular page. I guess the more people you have working with you, the more impressive that will be. But I actually think that is actually quite useful, even if you're just working with yourself, because it's in one place. Sometimes I know there's a comment on something from Mike, and I know it won't be at page level, and you've got all this text to wade through, and because the little icon is so tiny and so pale, it's easy to miss it, whereas in here you can then work through it. In terms of what you can do with this, you can edit a comment. So it's giving me the context here of what this was attached to, and the comment actually is, please check this. Now, check this for what? So I can go in it, because it's my comment, I can actually edit that. For spelling mistakes. So I've edited a comment. It doesn't actually mark it as being edited in any way. That's a bit concerning if it's an @ comment. I wonder if you'd get another notification, because if you send a comment and you @ it and Mike reads it, how would he know it'd been changed if he doesn't get another notification? But that's by the by. Right, once that's been dealt with, or Mike says to me, oh, I'd already done that, then I wouldn't particularly resolve it. What I could do is just delete it. Now, it does confirm that I do want to delete it, but in this case, I do want to delete it. The alternative I've got to deleting it, because there's no point having a comment there as a kind of audit trail and then ignoring it. The other option I've got is I can resolve it, can mark it as resolved, and resolve that one. Let's resolve lots of them. Okay, so this is what happens when you've got no comments open. But you'll see it says comments, and you'll see it says open, and we have no open comments. But the reason to resolve rather than delete is you can see the resolved comments. So you can see, did we go back and check that? You can go in and say, yes, we did. And if it's like, well, I'm not sure that we've done that correctly, then you can reopen it from there. So having the ability to have all of these in here At the same time, same place where you can get to them. I think that is quite useful. What do you guys think? You like that? I can't see the chat at the minute, you know. That's because the chat is in there. It's in that tab. So let's pull that tab out. And now it's on the other page and I can see it. Yay! Right. Okay. Is this Notion? Yes, it is. Yes, it's Notion. Okay, so that's the comments. Now, what else did they do? They have allowed you to set a public homepage. So what that means is, this is the second thing they've done here. Everybody has a yourdomain.notion, whatever. So if we have a look up here, you can see mine is Elaine Giles. So that there is my Notion page. But you can host information that you want to be public, and you can create a public homepage at your domain, which is whatever your before the .notion.so bit is. So in my case, it would be elainegiles.notion.site. And you can put whatever you want on there. Now, to do that, you have to set a page that you want to be the home page. So as it's saying here, you'd need share to web turned on in the share menu. And then you'd need to make it the public homepage. So it's a two-step process. So if this was the one that we actually wanted in here, there is an option to share it. And what they're talking about is the share to web option. You would have to make sure that that was turned on first. And then the second thing that you would need to do is in your settings, which is not in there, is it? It's in there. And where is it in here? I didn't actually look because I'm not doing this. I'm not. There we go. Your domain. So at the moment it's that, but you can change that if you want. And it would be elainegiles.notion.site. And this is where you would set your public homepage. So you're mapping a single page that you've shared to be a public homepage for your Notion installation. Would anybody use that? Let me know.
Kim's put a question in the chat.
And those comments are just for the page you have open. Yes. It's working in the way that many, many things work. So if you think of Google Docs or Pages or what else have we got? Word. The comments are just for the document that's open. And in Notion, it's just for the comments on the page that is open. If you scoot to a different page, so if we put a new page in there, right, second level page, this one will have exactly the same thing. So again, there's an option to add an icon, a cover page or a comment. So if I add a comment, there we go, and bring that up, then you are seeing everything just in this page. As you go back up there, you even have to bring the comments back. But yes, it's per page, per individual page. Whether they'll do anything in terms of like creating a master comments area, I don't know. I personally think that would be a little bit distracting. I guess it depends on how you use Notion, but I would certainly find that distracting. Might make sense to have comments for this page and below, or all the comments within a database, but I think per page is probably about the right level at the moment. So that's how we set this custom page up if we want that. But would you want that? Let me know. Would you want that? Right, I would love to show you the other things in terms of more powerful iPhone and iPad apps, but that would necessitate me updating to iOS 15 on my phone, and that's not happening yet because it needs to work. So I'll be a little bit of a while with that. The other reason that I'm dubious about updating, one, it's too fast for me for a device that needs to work. But the second reason is I don't have that much space on my device. So I'm going to need to move photos. And if I've started moving the photo process once, I've started it a million times. So I'm leaving it until I've got a bit more space. Kim says she doesn't think she'd use a public page. You don't want anybody following you around the net. I think it's more for things, maybe like if you're running a club or something like that. You know, you could share one individual page and then anything else you want to share is below that level. You wouldn't have them anywhere near your private stuff, but I hear you. I don't see me doing that either. I've done it with craft. I've created, if you remember, that was how we did the bingo cards back in June. and we nearly killed Craft doing it. But I have done it with Craft, but Craft seems to make more sense in that respect to me than Notion, but maybe that's just the way that I use it. Right, other thing that they had in here that might be useful, because this has driven me insane. Right, when you are working in here, and I have had comments about this as well. So, column 1, column 2, and column 3. How on earth do you get the columns lined up? Now, many people grab the second one and then start trying to put it next to here, and it doesn't work. And then you've got to take it all the way across here, and when you get the vertical blue bar, it works. But that's all a bit hit and miss, and depending on how wide you've got the page, a pain. So what I do is the other way round. I start, and I can actually see very clearly without fiddling around if I put them in backwards. So that's what I do. Right, I'm going to make these different colours. So we'll have different coloured backgrounds in here. There's a nice orange one. And I'd love to see the yellow one. And what should we have here? No, not doing pink. Let's have green. Right, now, other thing to think about. You may have in here content that you want to put in there. So let's put in our items. Item 1 and item 2 and item 3, and that's all fine. They are going underneath there. If you want to put an item in the second column, you'll see you need to move up and keep moving up until you get the blue line underneath the column heading, and that's when it will put it in the right place. So we'll put in item 4 there, and we'll have some items over here. Right, the problem with doing this is it's great when it works, but then I need that on another page. So I grab all of that, and it could be on another page or it could actually be on this page. It really doesn't matter. So let's drag that down outside of the columns. So now that's going full width. We've now set up one column. So we have one column at the top, 3 columns in the middle, and then one column underneath it. Right, what would happen if we pasted it? It would all paste in, and it would paste in one long column. And then you'd have to go back and fix it. Oh, it was hideous. Because if you were rebuilding a template and you wanted to make a working copy of it, that was what you had to do, and it was hideous. But you can see now, as you paste in, it pastes and it keeps the structure of the columns. Now, I will say in regard to that, if I want to put another copy in here, my insertion point is next to item 2, and I press enter, and then I paste. That still works. You'd actually have more problems trying to get 2 columns inside one column, although it can be done. So it works great. And I think for things that you are repeating like that, it's going to be such a time saver. Right, we have a question. Terry has not been able to update the version of Notion for Mac 2017. Contacted Notion, they haven't resolved the problem. I don't use Notion for Mac. It's installed, but I don't use it because I use it in a browser. So let's have a look. What version am I on? About Notion. Right. So you're still at that. Right. What's the latest version then? Because didn't we install this through the App Store? Is this an App Store thing? I'm pretty sure it is.
I have no idea.
There's no update, so I'm pretty sure it's an App Store thing. Let's go into the App Store and find out. Oh, you would have one update now, wouldn't you? Because you didn't have one update before. Okay, Mark 2. Let's not worry about that. Right, Notion. That's the web clipper. That's not Notion. Did I install it from here? Is it from direct from them, or is it from the App Store? Tell me that, and then we'll be halfway there. I could have sworn it was in here. But that looks like it's the clipper. Provider Notion Labs. Let's have a look. If we put Notion Labs, it should come up, shouldn't it? That's interesting. What's this? Your knowledge inbox. Interesting. No, that's not the same thing at all. Now I'm getting sidetracked. Maybe it was direct from them. I literally cannot remember. But I'm still on that version and I haven't been prompted to update. So, shall we find out? Notion app, latest version. Notion for desktop, right. What's the latest version? Mac desktop app. Okay. Right, let's have a look then. Kim's one more behind. It said it's going to have a look. Where's it gone? It's totally disappeared. It's not taking me where it should be at all. No. Hang on. Take that back. Right, go to Notion Desktop and click Download for Mac. Notion. No, it's taking me in there. Oh, I'm getting nowhere following the instructions. Notion Desktop. Ah, right. Download for Mac. Intel processor, because I'm not fancy and shiny. Right, has that downloaded it? Folder download. No, not downloaded a thing. Come on. Right, it's downloaded it. Let's have a look. What version is it? No, I've got that as being the latest version. Let's just get that down there. Oh, you swine. You swine.
Cherry installed it directly from Notion.
Right, there you go. That's the latest version according to that. If there's a newer one than that, I can only assume it is for the M1 Mac. But that's what it's downloading for me when I finally got there. So you manually have to put in notion.so/desktop and then download it. Let me see if I download this one, if it's the same version or not. Now that's 2.16. So no, I think 2.17 is the latest version. Are you getting a message to say update? I don't need that because I haven't got that, but that's 2016 anyway. Well, 2.016. No, I think that is the latest version. Okay, let's get rid of that one. And that was the columns. So that's particularly useful when you're building like a week view or something like that. But just the fact that you can duplicate it. Also, if you've got, if you're making like your own manual Kanban rather than using a database, and you want to have 2 or 3 copies of it in 2 or 3 different locations without duplicating the entire page. So I think it's just attention to detail, this. But it's nice to see that they're getting around to those kind of detailed things. Because if you've noticed, they've really stopped doing big, we've added this feature, we've added that feature. It's all calmed down a lot. To be honest, so has Rome. Rome has calmed down with big updates. But that is it for Notion's updates for the moment. So really good news if you want to share an individual page, which I don't particularly want to, but there you go. Right, let's go in and have a look at the next one, which is the craft updates. Now, craft updates are even more tricky to try and demonstrate. Trust me on this. This has been a nightmare. Oh, it really has. Right, the updates to craft, many of them are focused on the iOS 15 thing. But I think I can show you one. Also, there's some updates that's like, well, that's nice, but there's nothing to see. So one thing is it now supports 10 new languages, which is, if yours is one of those, that's great news for you. There's also improvements to Shortcuts. So Shortcuts is the app on iOS that enables you to create automations on iOS. So there's been updates to that. But the one that I'm aiming to show you, she said, right, is image annotations. Now, it looks like this is on iOS. So, first thing to do, make sure we can see it. So I'll get this out of the way and we will do the can you see my iPhone thing. Oh, this is always great fun. Right, mirror the screen. I swear this was working at 10 to 9. So just in case it decides it's not going to work at the moment, I swear it was working at 10 to 9. Right, there we go. It is working. So I'm in the wrong place entirely. I should be in our shared space. Patricia says the shortcut app gives me a headache. The shortcut app is very, very good, but there are times when it's like triumph of hope over expectation. Right, I think I have a demo page in here for annotations. There we go. Lucky me. Right, you've not had the ability so far to annotate anything in here. You'll notice that one of the changes that's in your face is the who created it and when they created it and when it was updated. Right, but I'm going to tap the plus at the bottom. And we've always had the ability to add pictures from the library and take camera shots, get to Unsplash, you can sketch, you can scan, you can go to the files, you can input code, formula or plain text. Obviously what we're interested in is the camera. So there's the camera pointing at my beautiful plants. So I'm just going to tap that. That gives you an opportunity to say, is this the one that you want to use? And yes, it is. So I'm going to use that photo. And that puts my photo inside Craft, which is what it always could do. So that was never a problem. It could always do that. You'll see it's taken a bit of time. It's obviously sharing its screen while it's at it. And it's uploading. And there's lots of bandwidth going on. But apart from that. Right, what you can now do, and I don't know whether I need to stop that uploading. It doesn't look like I do. I'm opening the image, but I'm opening it inside of Craft. And in the top right-hand corner, there is now the ability to annotate that image. So if I wanted to highlight my image like that, I can do. Do you know, I know people do this, but really, there's a nice blue thing. You can just about see it, but good grief, that's pale. Oh, let's make it thicker and let's make it red. And then we might be able to see it. There we go. Oh, who doesn't do this? I never do this. Must just be me. Right, but I've annotated anyway. You can see that far better on the screen than I can see it on the phone. Right, and then what I can do, you've got all the other tools that you would normally have. So if you don't like the fact that that's a bit bent at the end, you can get rid of that. So all of the tools are there and you can tap done and that will then load those annotations on top of the image. And you can go back in and there they all are. So, who does that with their images? I must admit, I don't. I very, very seldom do that. If I'm sharing an image in a blog post or on Twitter and it's supposed to show something, then what I will do is put numbers on it or something in Snagit, but actually drawing on it, not often. Not very often at all. Might put some type on it explaining something, but not much. Anyway, that is the feature and that's showing it on the phone. Because I couldn't find the tools on the desktop. Maybe I'm not up to date, but I think I am. So I would love to show you the other feature, which is live text. But, and you know, it was your fault, this, for not telling me. Because I'd forgotten. I have not updated this phone. This phone is running on iOS 14. But I do have another phone, an iPhone 7. And I thought, well, I'll demonstrate it on that. And I tried, and I'm not seeing the little lines that say you've got live text. And then Mike pipes up and says, no, you won't. It's an iPhone XS and above. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, I've got an M1 iPad, so surely I can show you on that. It cost a fortune a couple of months ago. Surely that's up to date. Yeah, no, not on the camera. I can show you live text, not on the camera, but that's nothing like as impressive. So once I've updated the phone, I can show it you on there, but at the moment, not much to see.
You're getting lots of compliments in the chat about your plants.
Oh, the plants look amazing, don't they? Yeah, never look better. Just need to get the dust off. Oh, my plants are fabulous. They've lasted the longest I've ever had a plant, so I can't say any fairer than that, can I? Isn't there a live one downstairs that you're looking after, Mike?
There's a live one downstairs.
We're not good with plants. They need to be plastic. They look well with the light shining off them, though, don't they? So that was your Craft update. Handy update. Oh, I'm swapping now. I'm swapping two said iPad, which means I'll have to stop sharing the other one. But yeah, who's used this before? It's been known as Documents by Riedel. But now they've got a snazzy new name for it, which is Documents X or Documents 10. I've no idea because I've never heard anybody say it. And if you're going to call your product something like that, can you possibly put the pronunciation in brackets? Cheers, that would be good. But it is a very good app. It was always a very good app, and they've added to it. So I'm swapping to my iPad and getting that shared with you. So let's come out of there and get the screen shared. Oh. Oh, you know when you do that thing and you shouldn't have done it because they've done something and now it's not working. Is that screen sharing? Ah, jolly good. They've moved it. They've moved it. That's really helpful. Not. So let's get out of here. Was there a slide missing there? There we go. I'll show you what happened there. You see in there, it's now got focus. That used to be where my screen sharing was, and now it says focus. So that threw me. Right, in here we have Documents by Riedel. So this app is sort of a file manager, but it's like a file manager on steroids. So it's been around a long time. It predates their other applications, including PDF Expert. So in the Documents app, it's for you to access documents from multiple places, to transfer documents to multiple places, to work with documents. They've also added a whole range of new features. So it is Documents by Riedel, and it is completely free. You'll notice in here at the moment there's none of this update to this, that and the other. I think there is in here. Maybe not. I'm sure I'll see it sooner or later, but they don't mither you all the time. But you can integrate this with PDF Expert and Scanner Pro if you need to. So what you've got when you start off, which is what I've got now, I've not brought anything into here at the moment. The only thing I've done is set up some services rather than go through the dance of having to double sign in and all of the rest of that, which is the ones at the bottom. So you'll see 3 icons at the bottom. They all say, one says Elaine Giles, the other says my email address, and the other one says Elaine Giles. Oh, look at Renee, because he's itching now to try a new app. It's completely free, totally, as in air.
Stuck a question in as well.
It's amazing. Is it for iPad only? No, I believe it's for the phone as well. I'm sure I used it on the phone. I used this way back for PDFs, marking up PDFs. Obviously, then PDF Expert came along and that did more. And I had the 2 apps running side by side. And the thing was, I was thinking, there's a lot of crossover here. So for me, I decided I would stick with PDF Expert. But in terms of what this can do, in terms of file management, this can probably do more than PDF Expert. So initially, when you log in, you've got these 4 icons looking at you. Your photo albums, and you need to give it permission to see the photo albums. But once you have done, you just tap the icon and it takes you through to all of the photo albums. Then you've got your iTunes files, and I haven't got anything from there because I don't transfer files via iTunes, because like iTunes, does that happen with the other apps? I've no idea because they got rid of iTunes. The recently deleted is where the trash goes, and you've got complete trash management. And at the end, you have these sample files, and these sample files are here to show you the types of files that are supported. So the first one is music, and you can tap on there. Now, it may behave differently if I'm sharing the screen, but it's actually playing that at the bottom. Okay, so that's an audio file. Then the next one is a zip file, which I think you would guess from the icon. And the thing with it is you can unzip that file just by tapping on it. So for years we had no ability to unzip, and then there was an app came along, purple icon, and I demonstrated it, and it was for zipping and unzipping files, but now you've got that built into here. Then you've got images, so you can see the Mona Lisa. Lovely. Come out of there. Next one is another picture, so you can see that. And you can see at the bottom, you've also got stop and screen mirroring and the rest of it. Now, I am screen mirroring, so you can see this. Okay. And then these are the files that came out of that zip file. So it unzipped them just when I tapped on it. And there's the sample in there. There we go. So there's some of the file types, but you're not limited to those file types. But then what might you want to do with those files? Well, I'm going to take you down the menu first. So the next option you have is a browser. So you can browse within this application. You'll notice that next to the URL bar at the top, it says VPN. Now, I have a VPN. It's not on this iPad at the moment. Don't want to put the VPN on while I'm trying to screen mirror, or that never ends well. But it's not talking about my VPN. It's talking about the built-in VPN. So if I tap the next option, this is the VPN inside documents that they give you for free. Now, how it works, you are allowed 50 meg per day of traffic pushing through the VPN. So down the bottom, it's got the connected time and how you connected. You know, this one's saying the fastest and what the privacy policy is. And the privacy policy did flash up when I accepted it, and it said they don't sell your data. So this is the location within the application where you would tap to start that VPN and get your 50 meg a day free. Right, then you've got your recent files. So these are the files you've just seen me tap to open or tap to play, like the music one. So your recent files are listed in there. Then you have what they call connections, and it starts off with files. So if we tap on files, this is the Files app. It's all of the files that I have accessed recently inside the Files app. Then it has files stored in documents in iCloud. Now, the documents folder is the folder of this application in iCloud. But this is where iCloud drives me to drink. And I'm teetotal, so it is bad. Right, it means a file, a folder within iCloud that this application deems to be its folder. And I had that created way before I bought PDF Expert. When I installed PDF Expert said, oh, cool, there's a documents folder, I'll use that. And I thought, but I want that folder called PDF Expert, because there's also another documents folder in iCloud, isn't there? Which is your iCloud documents. So I've got too many folders called documents. And in iCloud, the way that Apple have implemented it, you can have multiple folders with the same name. It's ridiculous. So my documents folder is also used by PDF Expert, but that's just the way it is. So if I click on there, you can see I've got nothing in there at the moment, but that's the documents folder in iCloud. Right, the next thing we've got is to connect to a computer. And it means the computer on that I'm sat next to. So if I tap on here, it generates me a number. And there's the number. Now, for this to have any meaning at all, we'll have to move that to the side, because you need to see two things as this is happening. We need to make sure over here that we bring this on and that we can see both of them. There we go. Right, you need to go to docstransfer.com. So docstransfer.com. And that will show you that. And it is waiting for you to enter that code. So if I put that code in, it's establishing a local connection, and now it's connected. So now what we're seeing in the browser, Integrity is the name of my device, so that's the iPad. You can see what's free on it, space-wise, and you can see you've got access to the photo albums and the sample files. So if I go into the sample files, there are the sample files. But I also have the ability to upload files to here if I wanted to. So I'm going to try and pick something that's not that big, because that would be bad news, wouldn't it? What have I got? Oh, there's one. That's 3 point odd meg. So what I'll do is I'll put this in the data for today. So let's put that over there. And I have two pickies here. One Seattle. That was for a demo that never got done. I'm working on that. But I've also got the birthday one. So if I want to upload files, I click on there. And down there. Oh, don't disappear. That's not good news. Back you come. Right. Trying to get to this one down here. Right. And there's the birthday one. So in fact, let's upload the pair of them. Let's take the two of them and hit open. And that is then uploading the files at the bottom here. They will then appear on the iPad is the plan in sample files. So let's see if that did or not. What I'm going to do is now disconnect from the iPad. So tapping that disconnect button, which takes me back to the docs transfer, but I would have to re-log in again. And let's go into there. Already done that. So yes, we've done all of that. Let's get rid of that. And back to the files. And I'm in sample files, and there they are. So there's the birthday cake. Isn't that grand? And there was Seattle. Lovely sky. Loving it. Right, so you can transfer files that way. Right, the other options you've got in here are services. So Dropbox, there's a lot of them. If we tap Add Service, these are the supported services. So Dropbox, Box, SharePoint, Google Drive, OneDrive, Yandex. And then on your network, you could have a WebDAV server attached to FTP, a Windows Server message block, which is, a Mac can do that when it's in the good frame of mind, and an SFTP server. You'll notice there that you don't have something like pCloud, but that's fine because pCloud can connect via WebDAV. And it was so fast when we did it with DevonThink, it was easy to do. So I've been through this process 3 times and I've added Google Drive, OneDrive and Dropbox. Now, one of the things that PDF Expert does, and so does Documents, which drives me insane, it might make sense if I'm connecting to 3 different Dropboxes to have them identified by name. But seeing as though Apple insists your iPad is a personal device, so we don't have accounts on it, and there's only me using it, I would rather that those services said Dropbox, Google Drive and OneDrive, because that is how I would access them. But they don't, not in there. But if you go into the preferences in here, oh, you have all kinds of stuff in here, and I am looking for the clouds, as it's called, clouds. And you can see the accounts listed that I've created. And there's 3 dots to the right-hand side. You tap on the 3 dots, one of the options is to rename it. And it just makes sense to me that that is named Dropbox. I only need the one. And then going down to the next one and rename that one. That one is Google Drive. I wish this was the default, but there you go. Okay, let's okay that. And the last one is OneDrive. At least you only have to do it once until it disconnects itself. But hopefully it won't disconnect itself. And once you've done that, when you get back into there, that's how I would want to look for it. I would want to say it's in Dropbox, Google Drive or OneDrive. That's just how I work. If I was adding Mike's Dropbox, in fact, I probably wouldn't. He'd probably just share the folder with me on all of those services. And that way it's easier. That way I don't have to have too many connections. Right, what you can do is, as you're working, so let's say you're working on this quotes file here. That sample one, the sample PDF, that'll do. Right, I'm working with this file a lot. You can drag and drop that into your favourites and then you can very quickly get back to that. Obviously, it would make more sense if they were in different locations, but all you need to do is tap and hold and drag across to the favourites and it will add these things for you. Right, if I now tap on Dropbox, you will see my Dropbox folder. There's Google Drive and there's OneDrive. I'd say that's pretty fast. I'm quite happy with that. I wondered where that fuse box diagram had gone, Mike. It's on OneDrive. Oh. We documented the fuse box. That was the last time the lights went off. So these are direct links to whatever you need to work on in here. But you can also, from your files, so let's take that one again. If we drag that and we drag and drop it onto OneDrive, it will bring up a transfer panel and say, where do you want it uploaded to? And I'm just going to put it in the root, so exactly where it is. And when I go into Dropbox, it started it. I wonder if it'll tell me when it's done. That was about 4 meg, I think. I'm sure it'll appear eventually. There we go. There it is in Dropbox. Now, I know you can do this with the Files app, but it's not quite as visual as this. So I'm quite liking that. And you can then transfer. So let's say we've got that one in Dropbox, but we'd like that in OneDrive. And again, just tap to upload. So there's no trying to get 2 panels up and say move this to it. You can literally just drag and drop it. It is very nice for file management. So you don't need to keep the files in here. You can have the files in the cloud and still work with them. If you want to work with it locally, you can download it. So you could go the other way. So if I were to put a file, let's get my Poppy one and put that into Dropbox. We'll have a copy of that in Dropbox. So I have now added a file to my Dropbox. Let's see how long it takes for that to appear. There it is. It's my Poppy one for November, so I'm getting it ready. If that is in Dropbox, but I want to work with it locally, then all I need to do is take it up to my files, and it will appear in there. Where have you disappeared to? Are you in there? Right, in the root of my files. There it is. And now I've got a local copy of that to work on. So if you need to work offline, you can do. But it's so easy to get things transferred back. Same with the photos. You can access the photos. So these photos here were the day that my iPad Pro arrived, if you remember. Oh, and I was having such fun with it. So all of those were taken actually on this device. But I could then take these and put copies of them. So go into select mode and select them. And your entire sidebar has now changed. So you can copy these files, you can move them, you can make a PDF of them, merge them to a PDF, you can file drop them, delete them, share them via email, upload them somewhere or share them somewhere. So let's say I want to upload them somewhere. It takes me to my cloud setup. So if I would like to put those into Google Drive, just have them in the root of Google Drive, then I've backed those images up directly from the photo reel. Which is interesting because trying to get access to the photos in some apps is really difficult. I think I was doing it with File Browser, which is my preferred app. But this one, that's quite expensive, and this one's totally free. Right, so out of there, and I think we've covered everything that's in there. But do you guys have any questions? So did I put those in? No, I didn't. I put them into Google Drive, didn't I? So let's do a share, an update in there, and fingers crossed. Here's the photos coming in down here. Nothing to see at the moment, but they are coming in. They're quite big, I think, because they're from here. There you go. Oh, don't let me down. Maybe it doesn't do it too well when it's sharing. But they are coming in. They're being backed up and they are coming in. Which is the kind of thing that this app excels at. And you can see that I've been through every feature down the side. I've moved files, I've gone into the preferences, and I'm still not being nagged to buy anything else. I do suspect down here, you can update from it here. There are in-app purchases, but they're well hidden, aren't they?
Paul's got a question.
There's a restore in there, but there's nothing to restore. Documents edit feature was unlocked. I must have bought something and not known. Yes, I have, Paul. Yes. Let's have a look. It does say there's in-app purchases, and the in-app purchases are the other applications from Riedel. So it's interesting. They're not really pushing those at all. Not at all. But that's the file manager that you've got here. So this is where you can, when you're opening other files from other applications, when you do a send to docs, document X, you can decide where they're actually opened. So they're opening in my files at the moment. You can state your preferred scan technology. So do you want to use the iOS scanner or do you want to use Scanner Pro? Now obviously I've got Scanner Pro, so I would probably set it to that. Then when you download files, where do you want them? So I put them in the downloads. You can show the extensions, toggle that on and off. And if you don't want to see the photos or the iTunes files, then you don't need to. So to be honest, I don't really need to see iTunes because I'm never going to use it. But backing up the photos, it's a good way to work with. Right, I don't have this protected with a passlock or any data protection on it. And the sidebar there, if there's things that you don't use, then you can just turn them off. And this is where you would remove your favourites as well. I don't think there's anything in there I would necessarily turn off. I haven't got any Siri shortcuts at the moment. He's on strike, bless him. I don't actually use Siri on my iPads. It would be, what did I say the other day about those the focus modes? If they all became unfocused at once, you wouldn't hear yourself think here. So I don't use... Siri's not enabled on here. There is a PDF viewer. You can choose to highlight the links, which I haven't. All of these are the default settings. But it is highlighting the fields, and you've got tap zones on the pages. You then get options to add extra pages and to save the files with more disk space. What identity you're using. So that's author. So I could actually put in there my name. So if I do change anything, people are aware of who made the changes. I don't have the wrist protection on. If I did, it would be right-handed predominantly. Page numbers are shown automatically, and you can display the author and the date. Then you've got the audio player. So there's two different kinds of audio player. We saw that when we played that song. Then there's the video player. You want to save the previous position and things. Now, the video player is great if you want to transfer a file from your computer. You probably do this, don't you? And then watch it in bed, feet up. And with it being on the device, you don't have any connection issues. When the Velop in the bedroom decides it doesn't want to connect.
Yeah. I used to. I tend to now... I think I used to do it with Goodreader.
Goodreader does it, and I had two different apps for doing it. One was it Air Player, and there was another one. But it had to have a server component running on the Mac at all times. So now I just transfer it with this, and it's very fast to transfer.
It wasn't Airfoil, was it?
No. Airfoil was audio, and Airfoil still works. There's browser, the browser that we've seen. So when you download from the browser, it will save it into the downloads folder. It's using Google as the search engine, but you have the full range to choose from. I love the one with the paw print. I do love that. But there you go. Google's the default. Shortcuts in there. So you have shortcuts to places that it would imagine that you want to go and search. You can take your history off it. We've been through the clouds that you can add the clouds. And you can start a WebDAV server on this device and then connect to it from other devices if you want to. The other one that we did went the other way. But it is very fully featured. There's all those images up there. Are they going to download now? There we go. Now they've all uploaded, they will all download. There we go. It is fully featured. It doesn't mither you, but it's configurable enough to become part of a workflow if that's the way you choose to use it.
Are you laughing at Renee?
Oh, autocorrect. What are the inappropriate purchases? Well, Renee, it's funny you should ask. You can put anything you like in there, Renee, however inappropriate they may be. Oh, best one yet. Oh, Paul is using VLC Streamer to play videos. This looks like a better one. I have used VLC Streamer. It's a very good app. My concern with VLC is they're bringing out a totally new version. They're working on it, and the interface is appalling. It's like it can't make its mind up whether it wants to be a Mac app or an iOS app. So that's when I switched to Inna, I-I-N-A, on the desktop. Oh, never look back, it's fabulous. Absolutely love it. The difference for me is VLC is incredibly powerful, but that's an 80-20 for me. I'm probably only using 20% of the features on that. But the 20% I use, I want to be really easy to access. And what Inna gives me is a range of shortcuts. They all use the same, I think it's Command and Shift. And then the letters make total sense. So if I want to look at the subtitles, it's S. And if I want to look at the video, it's V. And if it's the audio I want to change, it's A. It's totally logical. I love the way that you can start and stop it with the right mouse click. That way you can move the window. And one of the things that is not common on a Mac at all, but that Inna does, is keep the player on top. So many apps do not do that, but Inna does. My only concern with that is I open up something and then think that's not opened up, and it actually has, but it's behind Inna, but Inna's playing a video. So that's me with it. But yeah, I have tried VLC. Anything that I can transfer the file to and tap play will do me. This one's quite nice. It would keep it away from content that I have maybe in Goodreader that I don't want to have to manage. I would treat this as like make a folder for my videos and then just delete them when I'm done. Whereas if I move it into Goodreader, it's like, oh, I've got to be careful I don't delete something that's important in Goodreader. But that's more of a workflow thing. It's nothing about this. Oh, right. We're naming things what we want to name them tonight, aren't we? And I don't have a problem with that. Autocorrect. If you've never seen it, what's that site? Is it Damn You Autocorrect?
Yeah.
You've got to see it. It is laugh out loud, cry funny. It really is. And some of them go back years. You can tell from the screenshots. It's like iPhone 1. But they are just so funny.
I'm just copying out some of the songs for tomorrow night from WhatsApp. Just putting them into a list. And Tracy's selected one called Sniff Out the Light. Which should actually be Snuff.
Oh, I'm loving that. So there you have it. That's documents. So who's going to hair off and try that? That brings us back to the rabbit. Okay, I do like this. I do think this is a very good app. As I say, I'd actually removed it because I figured, you've got Goodreader, I've got Goodreader and I've got PDF Expert. But although PDF Expert can do quite a lot of what this can do, this has now kind of stepped ahead in terms of the VPN and stuff like that they've put in it. So it is a worthwhile update, this, and it's still completely free. It is the same app, so if you bought it before, don't expect the buy button or the download for free button. It will just be there available for download. So they've just changed the name of it. But it's a really, really good update. I am liking that. Right, let's come out of there. I think we're done with that, but you never know. Anything could happen. Right. Oh, Vivaldi. Oh, we're almost done. We're almost done. I've got 2 features to show you today, particularly, and an update. And they are both incredibly, incredibly good. So, let me tap buttons and go into here. And there we go. Going to work for me? Oh, you are. You are. You know you want to. Okay, so Vivaldi. First thing, tiny update. Tiny update that I suggested. Oh, indeed. So we looked last week that you could have more panels, etc. But I noticed at the weekend. So let's get 2 Vivaldis here. I think we've got one. There's one. Yep, there's one that we had to connect to it. And we'll have... we need a Notion, aren't we? We'll use that page. No, actually, we're not going to need a Notion. Any page will do. Right, let's get rid of that. And let's pull that off. Now, this is going to look very squashed because my screen's quite small. But if we do put that on the left-hand side, and that one, and put it on the right-hand side, and then get rid of those. Right, you'll notice what will happen here. Away you go. Come on. Right. What will happen here if in any Vivaldi window I turn on the tabs? And that is they come back in all the Vivaldi windows. Well, the same happens with the address bar at the top and the status bar at the bottom. You toggle it on in one window and it comes on in them all. But we have something new. We have something new. Or we would have if it was working. There we go. Let's just do... what have we got in here? A Notion or a Dropbox. This panel, whatever you have that set to, it could be set to downloads, it could be set to documents, it could be set to notes. Whatever this is set to in here, you will notice that unlike every other time we've used it, it is only opening in one window. And that was to do with the changes that they made last week, that you can now have as many of these as you want. So I wouldn't... If I had this set up that it had loads of these different sites, maybe all my cloud services and the rest, and it got to the bottom, that was it. You were stuffed then. You couldn't go any further. So if I had this set up for my 27-inch iMac at default resolution, and then I take it down to this size, it would just cut off and I wouldn't be able to get to them. This now scrolls. Let's see if we can force it to scroll. by making it smaller. There we go. So only the little bit at the side is scrolling, whereas before it didn't. It looks like a knock-on effect of that has been that now these open independently, which they didn't before, which is rather nice. Liking that. Right, let's get rid of these. You're opening that now, and I wanted you to open that. Let's get that out of the way. And this will do. Let's take that full screen. Right. We've looked at bookmarks, and bookmarks are all over the place. As you know, you've got bookmarks from the menu. You have a bookmarks bar that you can toggle on and off. You have the bookmarks panel that you can toggle on and off. So that's our notes, but at the top, that's our bookmarks. So same as you're seeing up here, we've deleted on it, which you don't get from there. But it's all accessing the same thing. And there is an entire bookmarks manager in here. So let's fold those up. You can see that they're the same. It's just different ways of accessing the same information. So I would say the most minimal way to access a bookmark is the menu, because all you can do in there is go and find one and click on it and open it, and that's it. This is probably the most detailed way that you can manage your bookmarks. There's also the speed dials. So I have a default speed dial and I have a Blue Yeti speed dial. So you can have multiple speed dials. You've also got access to the bookmarks, the history, the notes and the calendar in there. So that's bookmarks. But bookmarks only take you half the way when it comes to managing your browser. So I have at the moment, this is the page that I've got most of my pages open in. So I'm concentrating on, that one was on tonight's show. So if I go up a level on that, that is tonight's show. There at the bottom. But obviously I'm also concentrating on MacBites, the next issue, and MacBites After Hours next week. Then I've got the Scrivener series, so all of these are pinned and they're open. But during my working day, I open at least another 20 or 30 tabs. It's a pain in the backside. But I've got all of these tabs open. Then I need to demonstrate like tonight, and you don't need to see all of these tabs that I've got open. So what I need to do is put them somewhere that I can quickly restore them. And you might think straight away, well, bookmarks, you can bookmark them. And I could bookmark them indeed. But a session is better. A saved session is better than a bookmark or a series of bookmarks. But yes, I could bookmark them. So if these are the two that I want bookmarked, I can over here bookmark 2 tabs. Or I can bookmark all the tabs that are in this page. But you'll see I also have the option to save as a session. So what's a session? 2 ways to think of a session. It could be like I'm doing right now, where I've got pages open. So what shall I open here? I'll open Dropbox in another page, and we'll do the Brooklands by request. And free Kindle books. I hope it's nothing naughty that's free. But these are pages that are opening here. Now, I could save them all as bookmarks. That is not an issue. I could do that. Oh, they are pretty naughty, aren't they? Never mind. Don't get sidetracked with them. Let's look at the files instead. Look at the pretty files. If I bookmark them, they're going to go into a folder with a name on it. So let's get these 3. In fact, we can take the 4 and bookmark all the tabs there. Right, that has stuck them in here as saved tabs, and there they are. Now, you'll notice from here, and this was one thing that struck me as soon as I switched. There's the ability to add another tab. So at the bottom, it says add active tab, even though that's already saved. But I thought, just a minute, where's the option to open them all? Where's that? Which is usually there. So I thought there must be a way to open all of these. And there is, but not from this particular view. So I started thinking at that point, there's got to be a reason why. And the reason why is because you have sessions. So in the file, you have the option to save all tabs as a session. So I'll click on there. Now, when it says save all tabs as a session, it's not joking. It means across windows. Whereas the bookmarks can only be saved to a folder from the particular window that's open. So if I happen to have 3 windows open, which I do, and I want to save the whole thing, all 3 of them, I'd have to do it 3 times with bookmarks. But a session is like bookmarks on steroids. It's going to allow you to save multiple windows if you choose. You don't have to. You do have the option underneath to save only the tabs in the current window, which I will do, which is for these. But you could save them across windows. There's no point me doing that because I can't close down the other windows. But in here, I will put in demo and I will put in the date and time. And I want to save only the tabs in the current window. Oh, it doesn't like that. That's right. It needs to be a dash. There we go. And save it. Now, it doesn't look like anything's happened. They're certainly not in the bookmarks because it's a session and not bookmarks. But what I would then be doing is I would close down that entire window. So let's get that out of the way. And then want to go back to it. So I have here an option to open saved session. And I have quite a few saved sessions. That has opened down here. And you can see many of them are pre-show. Affinity Photo Resources, cows, when I was looking for cows. All kinds of stuff in here. Pre-show, pre-show, pre-show. So this is our demo one. I go to there and open session in new window and tap open. And it opens up a new window and it opens up the tabs that were in that window at that time. Which is fabulous. That is better than bookmarks. Another use for these is not temporary like mine, where I actually have, if we go into here and go and open a save session, there's pre-show for today at 4 minutes past 8. 42 tabs I had open. That did include my pin tabs though. So I'm not that bad. But what I would do is I would restore that to a new window and then probably delete it. I just haven't got round to deleting some of these. But another way to use these is not temporary like I do. It's like working out what tabs you want open to do a particular job. So let's say with these, I wanted to transfer a MacBites to there and I wanted to... Ooh, let's get to OneDrive and everything. I'm sure I was there before. Oh, come on. OneDrive.com. You tell me I'm not logged in now, aren't you? Oh, no, I am logged in. Fabulous. So I want to have that one open. And what was the other one I had open? What other cloud did I have? Google. That would be Drive at Google. So I want to have all of these cloud services open. There's the photos that I just literally uploaded. And I want to have all these together down the bottom. So this is a job that I do every week and I have a need to back up to 3 different locations and I want to see that spreadsheet and I want to see this. You save that as a session and you give it a name like, weekly transfer, and you can just open that up as and when you need it, but open up all 6 tabs at once. There's other ways to do it. You could create another speed dial. And you could put the 6 in there. That makes more sense for tabs that you don't use at the same time. So I will go to Amazon and check things. I'll go to Audible and check things. But I wouldn't necessarily also be checking the after hours links at the same time or going to Dropbox. These are just individual sites that I work in a lot. But you'll see I've got the Blue Yeti one, which has 2 links to Udemy sites. Or parts of Udemy where I need to go to check stats and things. But if there was like 5 pages that I use together, then I'd make a session of it and not a speed dial. So it's just another option. Just think through what makes sense. For me, if I need to do a quick clearance, that's a good case for using a session. Because I can clear multiple windows, and when I restore it, it will restore those files, the URLs, to the windows that they came from. So if I've closed down 5 windows, if I've made a session with 5 windows, then closed all the windows, when I open the session, it will open it up in the 5 windows again. So it's a better way to be aware of where the files were. Or the links were. But if it's individual files, links, we'll get this right yet. If it's individual locations that you're visiting, then it might make more sense if you don't use them all at once to think about a speed dial. If they don't warrant a speed dial because it's a job you do once every month or once every 3 months, then maybe a bookmarks folder. The thing is with Vivaldi, it just gives you lots and lots and lots of different options. So it's up to you to use the method that makes most sense for you, given what the specific job is. But I do remember when I very, very first looked at Vivaldi, which was 2017, I do remember actually looking at it and looking at the bookmarks and thinking, where can I just save all the bookmarks? And it wasn't there. I think they added it later. They used sessions instead. But now it's got all the features that you could need, and it just depends on which ones you're going to use in which circumstance. So for me, sessions are 2 circumstances. A quick clean-up. Sometimes it's just like, this urgent job has come in and I need to do it. And I do not need 4 browser windows distracting me from that job. So I'll make a session and then I'll do the job and then I'll go back and restore the session and I'm back exactly where I was. The other use case is more deliberate, and that is when I've built up a way of working. So I might have 3 windows, 1 on each screen, and each one has its own set of links open in it. And I will deliberately save that and then call that whatever the job is. So it could be like publishing MacBites or creating placeholders for after hours, because we've only gone up to 150 at the moment, and that's in 3 weeks. So I need to be in multiple places, adding multiple things to multiple different files. So I'd need Google Drive open, and I would need the images open on Dropbox, and I would need YouTube open. So I would create a session that's a dedicated work session. Right, so that's sessions. They are very, very cool. You just need to sit and think about it, about when to use them. Right. The other thing we have with Vivaldi is its history, which is the best history I have seen ever in any browser. Every browser lets you get to the history with Command and Y. Why are you only... That's better. Yes, I've done much more than that, haven't I? So this is what the history looks like. It's just fabulous. It really is. So let me get rid of that sidebar bit that we don't want. This is all of the history. This is the week view, but you have a whole range of views. So I used a shortcut to get to that, which was Command and Y, and that's the same on any browser. You can also get to it in your tools and history from up there. The difference is most browsers just gives you a long list of history, and you have nothing else to do but scroll through it. Right, but what this one is doing is letting you see your history and even provide you an analysis of your history. So top domains of mine are mail.google.com, well they would be because that's open all the time. Amazon, that's pretty much open all the time. Google, Notion and Medium. And it's showing you your browsing history in terms of page views and pages, link types, how you got there. And you could search for virtually anything. So what I've got here in the week view, which this is my favourite, but it looks better when the iMac is at full res. But what you're looking at here is this week. So obviously it's Sunday and Saturday, not happened yet. But this is all of Friday. It's very difficult in there to actually lose something. Really difficult to lose something. You can scroll it by day. You can see more of that when it's in the full width view. You can also search. And if you need to go back further, there's a couple of ways you can do that. This is this week's. But what if you were looking for last week? Well, you can move back by a week, or another week, or another week, and you can just keep going backwards. What's happening at that point that you might even not have noticed is down here, this is lighting up a different colour in the calendar. This is the today colour. This one is lit up because that's now the active week. If you move back one, then the last week in August lights up. You can use the This Week button to quickly get back to this week. And it even tells you it's week 38 of year 2021. You can do a search. So you've got your search up there you can put in. But you can also change the entire view. I just prefer this one. I think it shows me more. But you could, if you're looking for something from today, just change it to a list view. That's what you get mainly in other browsers, isn't it? So I'm scrolling up and down here. And it's disappeared. There we go. There we go. There's that. Just in a link. Just in a list of it. Then there's day view. Again, it takes a little bit of time to switch because there's a lot of data in there. Come on. Why are you not going to day view? Oh, you're misbehaving. Right, let's go to month view instead. See if it gets there any faster. Right, that's month view. So that gives you entries in a list. So you've got the whole list there. You've got here a summary then of how many views there were and how many different pages. And you can see I spend a lot of time online, don't I? This one's even lit up. Oh no, that one isn't today, is it? I said the 22nd was today. I don't know why that one's lit up. That one could be lit up because it's the biggest day. The day I've been on most pages. Oh, Aquamines, there's a blast from the past, but I did. So that's the month view. Let's see if we can get it into day view without it throwing a fit. There we go. So that is one day. That's today. All the things I've been doing today and all the things that I've been reading, looking at. Like tracking, you'll see in there, tracking packages. Oh, I was. Because otherwise we wouldn't have an unboxing, would we? But there we go. I think week view is a nice compromise between them all. I do. I think it gives you enough information to be useful. But as I say, you could be looking for a specific thing, in which case search is your friend. You can also just choose one of these days and just click on it, and it will then actually take you there and show you that day in the context of what you have selected in the top right, which is the week view. You have the ability here to clear the browsing data. I'm never going to do that because history is just too useful. And then this is the info panel that we've got, and it's showing at the moment, but you don't have to have it showing. You can bring it back or hide it. And it really is that useful. I did, as an experiment, start going back through here. And my history goes back to the 1st of November 2017 when I first tried Vivaldi. So 4 years ago. And I've still got data there. Now, obviously, that data there was not on this machine. So that data is being synchronized via my Vivaldi account. So the data is in my Vivaldi account. It doesn't matter what machine you browsed on, you should find it anyway. All in here. So I think the history is one of the best features of Vivaldi. It's not often I have to go back, but on occasion I do. And I think it's fantastic. I've never yet reached a point where I haven't found it. Now, obviously, history is only one way to access previously closed tabs, as we discussed last week. So if I get rid of the history window and we go back to here, we also have, although mine's at the side, we also have the close tabs button, which is the trash can down here. And we have this one, which is synchronized tabs. So on another machine, I might have different tabs open, and they will have synchronized with the cloud and enable me to get in here and access those tabs from another machine. And Renee has a question. Can you delete history? Asking for a friend. You can. You can. And what's even better is you've got the kind of global thing of just, let's go and find one of my ep guides. Oh, what should we get the episode guide for? How about CSI? That finished ages ago, didn't it? Ages ago. 2015. Ah, right. So I've been and I visited that page. That should come in down here as one of the last ones. Not showing yet. Oh, never mind. Let's get this. The Times front page. There you go. So let's say I don't want anybody to know that I have visited the Times front page. You could nuke the whole lot, but that seems like a sledgehammer to crack a nut. What you can do is just delete that. So if you've got 1 or 2 items that you just don't want anybody to see, you can manually delete them one at a time. You could even search for them up here and then delete them sort of en masse. Okay, any other questions about this? Oh, because next week's going to be the final one, making sure that you've got everything set up the way I've got it set up, if you want it set up that way. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Stephen. Right, pop any questions in, and Mike can do his stuff. Okay, let's get that out of the way. And it's new features of Excel, isn't it, Mike?
Is it?
Well, you said it was, so
yes,
I'm believing you.
When I have pressed record.
Oh, Mike, I can see your desktop. People are going to faint.
Nothing wrong with my desktop.
Just because they're lined up doesn't mean that it's a good idea. Are you ready?
I am ready now. Yes. Okay, new features of Excel. Microsoft introduced a few new features recently. Some of them were last week, some of them I think were the week before, but the ones I'm going to show you first are Windows only, and they're being rolled out starting with users on the beta channel. They are, or certainly this, the first one I'm going to show you, which is the navigation pane. It's primarily intended for anybody who's got accessibility issues, particularly visually impaired. But it's actually quite useful for anybody who's navigating around a workbook. So let me show you. Let me open up the ice cream dashboard file, which has got nothing to do with unicorns this week. So I just thought we'd have a change. Okay, first of all, down at the bottom left here, it says sheet 1 of 3. Now that's not there by default, but if you right click anywhere at all along that bar along the bottom, you get a huge list coming up, and that list allows you to turn on and off what options are available on that bar. So for example, if you were to turn off the cell mode option, then you actually lose the word ready from the bottom left hand side, which has been there since time immemorial, as that word ready. I think they brought that in from Lotus 123. But if I click again on cell mode, the ready indicator appears. But the one I wanted to mention was this sheet 1 of 3. So if you don't see sheet 1 of 3, then right click anywhere on that bar and turn on the page numbers, which should be there. It is sheet number, not page number. So you turn on the sheet numbers, and that makes the sheet number down there appear. So it's a way of just being able to see which sheet you're on. So you can see that it's moving through the sheet, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. If you do a left click on that, it opens up that panel on the right hand side, and that is the navigation panel. The other way to bring up the navigation panel is to go to view and click on navigation. So either way, it opens up this panel on the right hand side, and this is the new feature that I wanted to show you. And it basically allows you to look through the entire file, and it will show you all the elements that are in that file. So on the sales data sheet, we've got 4 cell or range based elements. So we've got sales data A1, and if I click on that, that is just a range of cells, and that's what that icon is. TBL orders highlights the object called TBL orders, which is actually the name of a table. K3 to L8, it's detected a totally separate range there, so because there are columns surrounding that, and N3 to O3. So it's basically gone through this sheet and pulled out all of the different elements. If I go to the sheet called Dashboard, which is the dashboard sheet, so if I open that up, here you can see all the elements that are in the dashboard sheet. So we've got a number of ranges, we've got a number of charts. These here that say button, if I click on that, that is a button that's embedded on the dashboard, and that one there, sales rep. That one is this slicer here. So although it's not a button, anything that's a shape is treated as an object here with the icon. So that's the filter by month slicer, and that's the sales rep slicer, and that's the button slicer, which is off screen somewhere. There it is. So you can click on any of these. So if you wondered which is chart 2, which is chart 10, let's say you're trying to audit your spreadsheet and you're trying to work out which is chart 10, you can just click on it and it will highlight that chart. Okay, button 3 is that one there. And then the pivot table sheet shows me a bunch of pivot tables. It's actually just showing me what is on that sheet. So it is useful for navigating around. It's not a huge feature. You know, it's not. It's what did Apple say? Evolutionary, not revolutionary. It's that, but it's quite useful, and it will tie up with a screen reader as well. So if you've got somebody who uses a screen reader, visual impairment, you can get it to read the names of all those objects, and it will help the screen reader read the names of the objects, but it will also help a non-visually impaired person actually navigate their way around the spreadsheet. So that was the first feature that I wanted to show you. The second feature that I wanted to show you, and again it's a small feature, but it could be a real time saver, and it works on Windows and Mac. So whereas the navigation pane at the moment is only available on Windows, what I want to show you now is available on Windows and Mac, and it's the ability to unhide multiple sheets. Now if you're feeling underwhelmed, it's not a huge feature, as I said, but it can be a real time saver. So if I just insert a bunch of sheets, say I wanted to hide sheets 1 to 5, click on sheet 1, hold the shift key down, click on sheet 5, that selects all those sheets, and then right click, hide. Now although you can hide multiple sheets, up until recently you couldn't unhide multiple sheets. So what you'd do, you'd have to right click on one of those tabs and unhide, and it will show you the names of the sheets in this file that are currently hidden. But you could, until the latest beta release, which is what I've got here, you could only unhide one sheet at a time. But here, if you want to select more than one sheet, you can do. Hold the control key down, or if you want to select a range of sheets like sheet 1 to 3, click sheet 1, shift and click sheet 3. Once you've done that, click OK, and those sheets are no longer hidden. So small feature, but it allows you to unhide multiple sheets. The other thing I'm going to go and show you is, for a change, on the Mac version, because the Windows version has had a proper name manager for years, but the Mac hasn't. It's had a name manager, but it's been quite basic, and now Microsoft have brought the Mac name manager up to a par with the Windows name manager. So I'm going to open up this file here, names, and show you a few things here. Okay, so I'll go to this absolute sheet. Now let's say I wanted to put formulas into column C to show how many places were left on each training course. And what I've done is, instead of putting the number 10 down every single row, or against every single row down a column, I've stored it once in the whole spreadsheet. So in a way, it's a bit like a variable. So if I wanted to then create formulas down column C that took the value in F1 and subtracted from it the number in B2, then I'd have to put this formula in here, F1 minus B2. But before I press enter, I need to make F1 absolute with the dollar signs. So I can either type the dollar signs in myself, or I can use function key F4 as I'm typing the formula in, and that will put the dollar signs in for me. So it's F1 minus B2, but it's the absolute of F1. And then as I copy the formula down, you'll notice that it's retained the reference to F1. I've mentioned dollar signs on many occasions, so hopefully you know what those do and how they work. But it's also possible to create these formulas, make sure they're correct, still reference F1 in each case, but not have to remember to put the dollar signs in. And that is done by naming that cell there, F1. Now there's two ways you can name a cell. You can go up to the name box up here, delete out the cell reference and type in a name, or you can click on the cell you want to name. You can also name a range, and then go up to Formulas Name Manager, and that brings up the name manager, and this has changed in the latest Mac version. I'm not sure whether it's only available to the insiders, the beta users. But what you can do is you can click New, and that will then allow you to input a new name. It's suggesting using maximum underscore attendees. The reason that it's doing that is because you can't use a number as a name, and the cursor is in F1, which has a number in it, and you can't have spaces in your name. So what it's doing is it's looking for the nearest cell with text in it, and for that text replacing spaces with dashes. I'm going to change it to max attendees. Now, one of the new bits that they've added for Mac users is the scope. So the scope can either be workbook or cell names. So if it's cell names, then what you can do is you can have the same name on multiple sheets. But if it's workbook, that name can only be used once across the whole file. Okay, so let's set that to cell names, and you can see there that it refers to the sheet called absolute cell F1. I actually don't want it to refer to that. I'm on the wrong sheet, so I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to redo it, but just using this cell names sheet here. It's exactly the same demo, I've just put it on a different sheet. So go up to F1, click on the name manager, click on new, give the cell a name, I'm going to call it max attendees, and then select the scope. By default the scope is workbook, and if you actually assign the name using the method I just showed you before, where you actually type in the name into the name box instead of going through the name manager, then that defaults to workbook. So I want to change this to be cell names. It's going to refer to F1 on the cell names sheet, which is exactly what I want. Click OK. Now what you can't do, if I go back to edit it, what you can't do is you can't change the scope after you've created the name. You could delete the name, which has no effect on the contents of the cells. So you can delete the name and then recreate it and change the scope that way, but there's no way to change the scope by editing it. Okay, so I created a cell and I named, well, I didn't create the cell, I created a name for the cell and called it Max Attendees. So how do I actually use that? Well, if I go to C2, instead of putting equals F1 and having to remember to put in the dollar signs, I can just put equals and start typing Max Attendees. And as I do, it appears in that list under the named ranges. Double click on it. Oops, I needed to continue the formula. Max Attendees minus B2. So it knows that Max Attendees is the name of that cell. And when you use the name of the cell in a formula and then copy the formula down, it keeps it absolute. So you don't have to use the dollar signs. It's an alternative way to making something absolute. So instead of having to put the dollar signs in, if you assign a name to the cell, which you can do through the name manager, and then copy the formula, it automatically keeps that name. You'd also use the name manager if you were creating lambda functions, which we've discussed in the last couple of weeks, and you can now resize the name manager dialog box, which again, it's only a small thing, but if you're creating a long lambda function down here, it really is beneficial to be able to make that dialog box quite big. Okay, so what I've done there is I've created a name. I assigned the name to F1, but I made the scope of the name cell names, not workbook. So cell names being the name of the worksheet. So if I rename that sheet and call it Jan as in January, and then we go to the name manager, the scope is just that sheet. So if I was then to create a copy of that worksheet, so just right click on its tab, move or copy, move it to the end and create a copy and name that one Feb. If I then go and have a look at the name manager, we've actually got two names that are the same, but because they have a scope of the individual sheet, it will allow us to do that. So this one is going to pick up the contents of F1 and this one is going to pick up the contents of F1 but on a different sheet. Whereas if I pick a cell and click in the name box up here and I create it, give it a name, let's just call it MacBites. Make sure you press enter after you've typed its name and go back to the name manager. Now that name has a scope of workbook, so you can't have more than one name MacBites in this file, but you can have more than one Max Attendees because each one references a different sheet. So that is the new name manager. They've put it on a par with the Windows version. Okay, you ready for me to pass back to you?
Yeah, are you ready?
Okay, well that is just the the latest features to have been released to Excel users in this month's or last month's Office 365 subscription. So I will pass back to you.
Oh, and having said that was okay, you have to give me a second.
I can show one more thing.
Oh, mine's got one more thing.
I've got one more thing, right.
It's okay, don't worry about it, unless you want to.
No, I was just going to mention it. I'll mention in that case that...
we can still see your desktop.
That's okay.
Now it's mighty tidy.
It is mighty tidy, because that's the Mac one, not the Windows one. Excuse me. No, they've added a feature to the browser version of Excel where you can now create notes. So you know how you can right click on a cell and insert a note, and you get a little red marker in the top corner, and then as you hover over the cell you get a little post-it note popping up. Well, up until now that's only been available on the desktop version of Excel, but now it's available on the browser version. So the browser version is actually getting pretty good.
That's rather cool.
It is rather cool.
Right, okay, we'll transfer to here then. Right, little bit of admin first. Okay, I don't know how long I'm going to last tonight. Right, styles in Scrivener. Now, I can't do this in half an hour. There's too much of it. But I can certainly give you an introduction to styles in Scrivener. Could I have some ice in my water, please, Mike?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so demanding. What a diva. Right, I'll let Mike deal with the ice and we'll go and have a look at styles in Scrivener. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why hasn't Mike already put water in the ice in the water? Tut tut tut. Oh, question from Terry. What's the best way to watch all of the Vivaldi sessions? There is a playlist, Terry, and I will put together all of the links, timed links. I'll put them in an email. So many things to do. Pulling of jobs. Yeah, one more thing. Amazing, isn't it? Right, Scrivener. Oh, that's today's. No, that's not what we're looking for. No, it's the other thing. Let's go there we go, demo. I don't know why it was called demo blank, but there you go. Right, styles. I'm assuming you all know how styles work in Word. Would that be a reasonable assumption? Because that's where people have preliminary been introduced to styles. Now, when Scrivener 1 came out, it didn't have the concept of styles. And the problem was people were requesting them. But as far as the developer was concerned, what this looks like in Scrivener, what your work looks like in Scrivener and what it looks like when it's exported are two very, very different things. And in his mind, never the twain should meet. But by version 3, he'd given in. He'd given in arguing because people were still demanding it. So because of that and because of his preference for Scrivener being your development environment, but not necessarily, in fact, not anything like the output, the implementation of styles in Scrivener could be seen as being a little bit weird. But that's why. It's the history of it that brings it to why. The second reason was what we're looking at here in terms of the interface. This entire area is a text control. And if you are a developer, way back in the day when we're on DOS, if you wanted an environment like that, you had to code it yourself. And that was why no two applications looked the same. But as time has gone on, platforms provide development environments like the Swift playgrounds where developers create Swift applications. And they provide pre-packaged elements of content for applications, and the text editing element is what we're looking at there. And Scrivener adopted the one that's in the Mac, and it didn't have a concept of styles. Thank you. The ice has arrived. So that was another reason that there were no styles. If the styles had been available in the component, then the developer would have hooked into them and we would have had styles years ago. But it didn't, and because of that he had to build the entire implementation. So it's a completely custom implementation of styles. This probably sounds like a gin and tonic. It's not, it's just ice going into water that's melting alarmingly quickly tonight. So let's get all the ice in. There we go. Right, then I can stop making a noise. Right, so they had to build their own implementation, and because of that, it's not what many people think of styles as being. And some people were disappointed with implementation. Some people just looked at it and said, well, I might as well ignore it then, which the developer's quite happy with. He's quite happy if you ignore the styles, because to him, you shouldn't need them. Oh, well, here, see, we have another idiot in a car. It's full of them tonight, isn't it? Right, more water. There we go, got the water out now. So, with the styles, they are workable. I will say they're workable. They come into their own when you map one style within Scrivener to something in an output. And the output we're talking about is the compiled output. So, I will show you one practical thing, but I would imagine it's going to be nothing like the majority of you are going to use. But it's something that I do many times a week, and it involves styles. So I'll show you that first, and then we'll have a look at how they are implemented. So let's bring that on and get that full screen. Okay, this is a mail that got sent out yesterday, I think, or the day before. And that's not the one I'm looking for. It's tonight's. There we go. This bit here has a style on it. So the whole thing has a style. And it's called button green. It's got a green background. That's the nearest I could get that looking to a button. Now, what I do with that is in the compile, I say, like conditional logic, like you would get in Excel, if the style equals green button, then make it look like this. So one use of styles is to make it look a certain way while you're editing. But the second use for styles in Scrivener, because we have this compile going on at the end of the process, is to map a Scrivener style to a style in something else. So there's two purposes for using a style. Most people, though, all they actually want is like I've got here, we're live now. Oh, that's a heading 1. And come and join us. That should be a heading 2. I don't know why it's not a heading 2. It should be a heading 2, like that. So let's see how we make that happen. Right. So I have some text in here. I'm going to need something to put in there, aren't I? So at this point, I want that to say going paperless. And I'm in essence putting these in here. So this will be the introduction. Right. Now, two ways of styling this text. You could style it manually. And that was the only way previously. So what you would need to do is to style it and get that looking as you want it to look. Maybe you want that bold. Maybe you want it a different font. Maybe you want it underlined. But however you want it, including colours. Oh, this is really bad, isn't it? Right, now it's styled. But when you look at the top, it says no style. So why does it say no style when I've styled it? Because this drop down is referring to styles, defined styles. So if I were to make that going paperless, a heading 1 from in there, now it would have a style name attached to it. It doesn't look like I want it to look, but semantically it is marked up as being a heading 1. Now, if you've I've mentioned semantic markup in lots of different ways. But semantic markup is saying to it, you are a heading 1. You are a heading 2. It's less concerned with what that looks like, because you can always change that. But that is actually telling the compile process that this is a heading 1. Now, Renee says WYSIWYG is desperately needed here. WYSIWYG being what you see is what you get. Yes and no, Renee, because you've got to remember Scrivener is not Word. It doesn't profess to be Word, it doesn't want to be Word. Word, what you see is what you get, because what you're working on and what you're looking at is your final output. But in Scrivener, it's not, and it shouldn't be. if you think about writing a book in Scrivener, let's take it the easiest type of book, which is fiction. And fiction's the easiest type of book because you have a predictable output. But if it's a non-fiction book and it's, a guide to Scrivener, although that's a bit meta, isn't it? But if it's a guide to Scrivener, you're going to have screenshots in it. You're going to want placements based on, putting a gap over here and whatever. So a fiction book is way easier in terms of layout. But do you actually want to type it up in that kind of way? Do you want it to have a serif font? Do you want it to be quite tiny? Maybe 10, 11 points. That's not going to be great to work with. So Scrivener totally splits, and you need in your mind to totally split what you're seeing in here and working with and what the output needs to look like. Now, we actually have headings, and they're all different colours in MacBites. So if I bring MacBites on, and we have, let's get rid of that one there. So this is all the stories that we've got with it. If we look at the styles that we have, we've got all kinds of stuff. So I've got 2 different types of heading 1 for a start. One's blue, one's black. Again, I've got blue and red going all through to a heading 5. I've got quotes down here that are different. I've got the A lady and sound effects and all kinds of stuff in there. That's before we get down to this lot here. I also have styles in there that are actually not defined in here. So if you look at the colours that I've got black, blue and red. If we were to do a compile on that, the whole shebang like that, and go into compile, and let's say I was going to compile the recording notes, and they were going to be a PDF, which they are. You can see I've also got orange in here. So what it looks like when it's compiled, what it looks like as I'm working with it, 2 different things. Now, it seems to be, to me, from people, they don't want 2 different things. You want it WYSIWYG. You can do that up to a point, but we're looking at styles. So styles to me are for semantic markup. So I can particularly say, that's a heading 1, that's this, that's that, and I want it to look a certain way. But remember, when you define the styles at this point, it's only during the edit that they will look this way. Oh, you don't want to pause me to take notes. Can you put a link in there, Mike, to the playlist? They're all in the playlist, and when you go into the playlist and you just work back, you will find underneath there are timestamps to each individual piece. Right, so it's what it looks like in here. The secondary thing being what you're marking it up as. So there are these styles by default. I did not create any of these. These are the ones that you will find in your file if you didn't make any changes. Now, you've seen the MacBites ones are incredibly different. So obviously you can make changes here. You can delete these. You can add to them. You can redefine what they look like. So we do want this going paperless to be a heading 1. But if you remember, I had it bigger than that. So I had it up to about 36, which is probably way too big. Let's go for a 24 on that, and let's make it red. Right, that's what I would like that to be. Now, I've manually formatted it, but it's still a heading 1. So that's grand then, is it? All I need to do for my next heading is go down and choose the heading 1, and it looks nothing like it. Oh dear. But at this stage, both of these are a heading 1, despite the fact they look different. But the best thing you could do is redefine the heading 1 to look like that. So we have a whole styles panel in here. And from our styles panel, we can weave magic. So in here, we can redefine the paragraph style from the selection. Now, which style we're going to redefine is dependent on what you've got selected. So we have a heading 1 selected going paperless, and we have heading 1 selected in here. So if I redefine the paragraph style, it's going to let me do that in here and be very granular with what I can do. I can call it something else if I want, which I don't. There's a shortcut. You only have a range of shortcuts to choose from. I don't have my shortcuts set like that, but I'll explain that as we go down the line. What formatting would I like to include? And it's saying all of it. Or you can have the paragraph style, but I want all of it. I don't want to draw a box around it, and I don't want to predict what the next style will be, but I just want the heading 1 to be bigger, to be bold, and to be red. So I haven't made any changes in that dialog box at all. I'm just going to click OK. At which point, 2 things happened. 1, it redefined heading 1 in the paragraph box. It also, without prompting, changed that to match that, which is exactly what we want. So if we come on down, and that's configuration and capture, there we go, and we want that to be a heading 1, you apply the heading 1, looks the same. But if I now decide that this heading 1, I quite like the orange idea, let's go for the orange idea, which is probably about there. Ooh, that's not that different. Tell you what. Come on, let's go for something very different. I think green's different, isn't it? Right. This is still semantically a heading 1, but it doesn't look like the other heading ones. Again, same principle in here. All you need to do is redefine the paragraph style and just hit OK. This dialog box that you see little bit at the top there, not there that long. Actually, how long it's there is going to depend on how long the document is and how many headings you've got in the document. Because what it's doing is it's reformatting all of these to match. So I'm thinking, you're thinking, that's what styles need to do. That's what they need to do. And you'd be right. But in Word, we're not expecting a style to do anything else on the output. And in Scrivener, we could be. Patricia says she's created or creating paragraph styles in various projects. Do you have to make the changes to styles in each project? How can I use them in various projects? Yes, you do have to make them in individual projects, but what I would suggest you do is have a master file that's got no content in it above demo content, that literally, which is in the course that I've done, right, style guide. And what I would do in here is literally just type in what it is, heading 2, heading 3, and then format them. So this one would be our heading 1 and this would be our heading 2. We don't even have a heading 3. That's not grand. So this one here at the moment, well, I would do that, and I would take it further than that. I would put headings in that aren't even in there, because my work isn't like fiction, and I may need to drill down into the headings. I would then, in there, also put all the others. So there's an attribution, which if I'd spelt it right would be even better. There's a block quote. Where are we? Block quote. We have centered text, which they've spelt wrong, but never mind. There's a code block, and the reason that I'm doing this and typing it out in here, they've got a title, but I wouldn't need that, so I'd get rid of it. Right, I would put that in there, and I would format that with each style. So we have an attribution there. That's obviously over the other side. We have a block quote. We have centered text, which should be centered. We have a code block, and we have this verse block. And that's what all the styles look like. We do not have these styles yet. And what this style guide would be used for, I would put this in my file. So I'd start off and I'd have a Scrivener file, and it would be my master styles, and I would have style guide in it. And then when I make another file, I would want to take the styles as they are today from that master file and put it in my other one. Another way to do it is if you've got a template, which I have for courses and videos, then I would put the styles in a template, and then every time I make a new file based on that template, I've got the styles that I want. But the good news is, no matter what styles you've got in a project, you can change them by getting them from another file. Which is why this styles panel is so important, because in here you have the ability to import styles. What's missing from that menu? a lot of people stumble over. You can import styles. That's fantastic. What can't you do with them? Hear that, Renee? That's my gin and tonic. It so isn't. It's just water. There's no option. Can you drag and drop the master style sheet? You can drag and drop it, but it won't do you any good because the styles themselves are defined within the bowels of the application. But I will show you how to do that. But the one thing you can't do, you can't export them. Oh, how come you can import them but not export them? And if you can import them but not export them, where do you import them from? Oh no! It's actually really simple, and that's why I would have this file, this master file, with just my styles in it. Because you import from a standard Scrivener file. There is no need to export. There's no portable format to say, oh, here's my styles. If you wanted to give somebody your styles, the best way to do it is to give them the Scrivener file with the styles in it. So we have this file here right now. Let's do it the proper way. So let's close that down and we'll go in, and I don't want one of those. What I want is new project. So a completely new project. I'm going to go for blank. It doesn't need anything in it at all. And this one's going to be in there. And this is our style guide. We could put in it master style guide. And now we have a file. But our styles are not in it. What styles are in it, you can't even see it unless you make it wider, because you don't even have that. These are the default styles. So this is the file we're going to need to import them into from somewhere where they're defined correctly for how you want it to work. And we are doing that at the moment in the file that we have been using all the while we have been doing this Scrivener thing. So let's put this master file over here out of the way. We'll return to that shortly.
Question.
Right. Go on.
Can you drag and drop the master style sheet?
I answered that one. It would be nice if you were paying attention, wouldn't it, Mike? Yes, you can, but the styles won't go with it, but I'm going to show you that in a second. Right, ears set to on, are they? Ooh, he's got the dirtiest look now. Oh, should be video for that. This is the page that's going to have them on, but at the moment I need to define them. So this one I'm sort of happy with, but I've decided no, I actually preferred it red. So let's send that back to red. Is that the red? It'll do. Right, and that's 24. This one here is a bit small for my liking. So I want it 20, but 20 isn't an option, so I'm going to have to use the styles panel to be able to type 20 in. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is, and it annoys me. Right, so this one, shall we make that the blue? Let's make that the blue. That one, that's a nice blue, that'll do. So we have a heading 1, we have a heading 2. We're going to test this now. We go here. Oh dear. That's because we didn't redefine them, and we need to redefine them the whole of the time. So show the styles panel and redefine that one as a heading 1, and it's updating it everywhere. That one is going to be our heading 2, so redefine that one, and that should turn blue over here. But we haven't got a heading 3. It thinks it's a heading 1 and it's not, it's a heading 3. It doesn't look like we want it to look either. So in this one, this was 20. Let's go to our heading 3 and make a completely new style. So at the moment, it's got no style. I'm going to make it look like I want it to look. So I want it to be bold. I don't want it to be italic. 18 would be better. So I need to bring the font panel back and put 18 in there. And then I could do things like change the colour. Now, I'm not suggesting you do this for real, but I'm going to do this, right? And make that green. But this still isn't a style. What I would need to do is go down to the styles panel and add a new style and give it a name. Now, it's really simple for this one. It's going to be heading 3. I haven't got a shortcut on it yet, but I do want to save all the formatting. And I'm not worried about the next style, and I'm just going to hit OK. And now I have a heading 3. If I were to style that and that with a heading 3, they would look like that. And there's a 2 and there's the 1. And once you've got them defined, it's really easy to apply them. But remember, we need a 4 and a 5, and we haven't got one yet. So I'm going to take the style off these and go in and sort them out. So this one I'll have as 16, but I'll have it as bold and not italic. And we're fast running out of colours, aren't we? We could go for the grey with that one. Right, it's still not a style though. I need to manually make a style the first time I make it. Heading 4. And again, not changing anything, just OK, and it's adding a style. Which leaves the heading 5, which I don't want italic. I do like my headings bold, but it can't be 16, it'll have to be 14. And what colour shall we have this? Oh, it's red a mustard colour. Oh, that's bad. Let's have that. Okay, and just make another style. And this one is my heading 5. Now, obviously, I'm doing this in this file, but that's not where we really want these. We want them in this file here eventually, or maybe multiple copies of this file here. But we've got them in there. So this is our attribution. This is a centered text. If we're all happy with that, then we have some styles. But all the styles we have in here so far are paragraph styles. And what we mean by that is it doesn't matter here. Let's get down there and change that to no style at all. Right, the quick brown fox. Lazy doggies. Not that our dogs are lazy, are they, Mike? Right, that's a paragraph of text. So if I click in just one word of it, it applies to all of it. But what if I wanted to just highlight the fact that it was a brown fox? So the brown fox here, what I want to do is highlight that. Well, I do have a highlighter, and I can highlight that in yellow, like that. That looks grand. Problem is, if I decide that I'd like all of my highlights through my 700-page book to now be blue, that's a manual job. Not good. So you could do with a style that lets you apply formatting to just individual characters. And we can do that. That is what character styles are for over here. So the emphasis is a character style. And when you apply that, it should... What's it actually doing? Oh, let me get rid of the italic on that. Because what the emphasis is doing is making it italic. Or it would be. Oh, are you not working? There you go, that one's working. Just so you can see that these are only supposed to apply to the individual characters or words that you have selected. So we have this here that we would like to be a style. Just that colour. I'm going to go down here. And you can see it's not got redefine from it or anything like that, or redefine character style, anything like that. We don't have that. But we're not doing very well at all there, are we? Is it because I took everything away? Wouldn't like to say what's going on with that. Naughty, naughty. But you can create a character style that only looks at the character. So if I do a plus on this, at the moment it says all of it. But if I say just the character attributes, which would be the highlight for a start, do you want to include the font size? No. Do you want to include the font family? No. I don't want to do anything but save the character attributes. Because if I preserve the font or the size, and I then want to highlight something that's a different size, it's going to override the size and make it smaller or bigger, and I don't want that. But this is my highlight. Now, I always put what it is, so it's a highlight. Should I put yellow? Oh, let's put everybody on the spot. Should I put yellow? Do you know the answer to this, Mike?
No.
And you're grumpy anyway, because I told you off.
I'm not grumpy.
He's looking grumpy, trust me. Probably not the best idea. Because as I've just said, what if you want to change it to blue? You can rename a style, but you know, it should actually mean something. So I would think highlight primary is probably a better bet. And you can see there, it gives you an example of what that would actually look like. So in here, this is actually highlight primary, but that is no style. So the second word has no style. I had that selected when I made it, and that is highlight primary. So if I apply highlight primary to another word, and just by doing that, that is highlight primary. I'm going to go into there and I'm going to change that highlight to blue. As far as it's concerned, it's centered text plus highlight. Now it's getting giddy with itself. Look how many things it's telling us. So what I'm going to do with it, it's blue. I'm going to go back into there. I'm going to say redefine the character style from selection and click OK. It's updating it, and now you can see the problem that we had down here. That the brown has updated to blue, but the fox is still no style with a manual style on it. Would you have several character styles with different colours? Yes, I would. So what mine look like, I can't remember what I called them. But in here, which is the MacBites file, if we go get some text, and we go right down the bottom, I have highlight code and important. So I call mine important. But yes, I would. Some of them I have way more than that. The MacBites one just has the 2. But yes, I would. However many highlights you want, but try and name them according to the meaning of them. So let's get back in there. So how on earth do we fix this? Well, this has manual formatting on it. That's the problem with it. And it's saying it's no style. Oh, it's not good. Right, but if we just highlight the whole thing and then apply it, that isn't working either, because this does have formatting on it, which is why it's a good idea to totally get rid of it. But at the moment, that is highlighted as that, and what I'm trying to do is take it away like that. And then highlight both words and apply it. And it's still not working. Why are you not working? There's no style on that now. Go on, you can do it. There we go. Although it should highlight both words if I've selected both words. So probably the best way to do it is to take the whole thing away and do a highlight primary, and then it will apply it. So as I've said, the styles are quirky. They are quirky. They do work, but it takes quite a bit of work to set them up. But we've got some in here now. Right, but I've decided I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is change that to yellow again, and I'm going to redefine that style from selection, and that should change it back to yellow throughout the document where I have that applied. So I have my highlight primary. Right, let's make another style, another character style. This time I want that pinky one. This is going to be my highlight secondary. So I need to create a style. I only want the character attributes, don't want anything else, and this one is going to be highlight secondary. Oh dear, lost the ability to type. There we go. And then any word that I select, or any character part of it, I can do that, and I can change them at will. So what would I then do in here? Well, I'd get that back to no style, because this is going to be my style guide. That was just for practice, so let's get rid of that. What I would now put in to complete it is my highlight primary. So I'm using the names of the styles in here. Oh dear, why don't I just duplicate that? Oh, it's that time of night. It's sad. Secondary. I would highlight them and then apply the style, so we've got a visual representation of what all our styles look like. Okay, getting somewhere now. Right, I definitely don't need that style, so I'm going to delete that. Delete it. And what are you doing here? Highlight primary, and you are 16, and you should be 16. And now we're all happy. Right, so what I've got, this is a visual style guide, and the way you've set it up is so you have a visual on what the style is called and what that looks like. I would stick that in my reference. So when I'm working with... do I have one in MacBites? I do. I have a management system in MacBites. And there's my style guide. Although there's probably other stuffs in it. But textiles, artwork palettes, section titles, anything. Right? Anything that's in there. So I do have that. So I've got the index. I then have an inbox for inbound stuff. I've got a management folder. This is where all of the posters go. That you would see. So there's this week's, and then there's all the MacBites stuff in there. So I do have this, so it's set up for me to easily refer to it. There's other ones, probably that one, which have changes required. That's the course journal, and then down the bottom I've got reference, and I've got management, and the management is actually including the change log for the template, and there is the style guide. So it might be in different places in different files, but I always have a style guide in there. Did I redefine the pink highlight? I think I did. Yep, it's pink, so it's fine. So those are the styles I've got in this file. Right, first thing to be aware of, you create another document in here. So our demo page. You're defining the styles at the level of the file. So if I have in here a heading 1 followed by a heading 2, and I style them, there's my heading 1 and there's my heading 2, and I can carry on like that all the way through all of the different pages in the different sections within this individual Scrivener file. But that does not help us in this file here, which has got nothing in it at the moment. So I would be tempted to put in something to manage it. So management, depends what the file is, obviously. I always, if it's management, I change it to, where's the icons gone? The red book, the playbook. And then within there, I would probably put style guide. Right, like that. Now, I already have a style guide. The style guide I've got is here, with my styles in it. So if I drag and drop that into my other file, I end up with that. I end up with a blank one that I've created, and I end up with that one there that's styled. So we don't need that. I've dragged and dropped that one into it. The reason it looks smaller is because in the file behind it I've got it 125%, and in this one 100. So let's take that to 125, and they look identical. But, and here's the big problem, that would be great if that worked, but it doesn't work. Yes, these are styled correctly, but you'll notice that says it's a heading 1, but that's a heading 1. That's a heading 2, okay. This is a heading 3, but it says no style. So what's happened is, as I've dragged this document from one Scrivener file to another, it's retained what it looks like, but it has no concept of these being Scrivener styles. It thinks there's no style on it. They're just manually formatted, as far as it's concerned. So, you can do that, and that gives you this look and feel of it, but at this stage, you're not in a position to create another document up here and start styling it. If you go in there and you put your heading 1, and you put your heading 2, and you apply the heading 1 and the heading 2, they look nothing alike. You've got a couple of options. The long-winded way is to go in here and select that and redefine that style and redefine all of them. But that way madness lies, because that would be so long-winded. But we know we can import styles. So what we need to know is from this file, because they're going to come from demo blank, where is it? And it's actually in the data for after hours 141. So what I did to get that up was hold the command key down and click on the title, and that gives me the full path to it. That's known as the proxy icon. So I know where it is now. So if I go down here in this file, so we're now in my demo, no we're not, hang on, you need to be in another file. Where are we? Maybe disappeared to, come on, that one. They look the same. That's the confusion. No, hang on. Where is it? Come here. File. Master Style Guide. That's the one. That's what we're looking for. In here, we know we can't export from the other file, but we know that we can import. And so we'll import. And that will show us this up here, but I need it to show us 141, the data for 141. And it's this one that we've been working on. So what I'm telling it is, okay, that text looks great, but the styles haven't actually travelled with it. So I will import them from the other file. Right, this is where you need to pay attention. In this file, the Master Style Guide, it says there are 2 style names that already exist, but the formatting doesn't match. So what do you want to do? And it lets you choose. And that is heading 1 and heading 2 already exist. Patricia, tell me what your issue is. What we're doing, we're at the stage, we have 2 files. We have the file that has the styles in we want to use, but we're trying to create a master style guide for future use. And I've dragged and dropped the actual page. It's brought the formatting, but Scrivener is treating that formatting as being manually applied. It doesn't know that they were styles. That information does not come with it when you drag and drop a page from one Scrivener file to the other. So I'm importing into our master style guide the styles from our demo file. And it's saying to me, you have 2 styles that already exist. And we know that, heading 1 and heading 2. But they're black and they look nothing like that. So the options you've got are, you can keep the styles you've got, which are the black headings. You could replace the headings you have with the styles you're bringing in, or you could add the imported styles, which will give you 2 styles with heading 1 and heading 2. Well, I want to replace them. So I'm just going to hit replace and it will have a think about it. And it brings in all of the styles. It keeps everything that was already there. So I deleted that one, but it's still there because I didn't delete it from this file. But it's brought in all of the styles. And now when I go through, we still have an issue. So I'll sort that out. Patricia says, I've got that, but where did you import from? The name of the file. Right, I was importing from demo blank into master style guide. So these were the ones, master blank was where we defined it. This is the one we've been playing around with. And it's called demo blank because 1, it's the demo, and 2, it was based on a blank file. A blank template. We didn't bring in anything with it. There's nothing in this file that would need explaining. It's just it was a blank file that it was made from. And this file, we are making our master style guide. But even though we have the styles in here now, they are still not mapped to the content we have, because it thinks these were unstyled. But it's relatively simple to go through and just put your mouse pointer, just click inside it, don't even have to select it all, and double click on all of the paragraph styles to apply them. Attribution's okay. These are okay because they were the default. It was the ones that didn't exist. So this one hasn't got a style and this one hasn't got a style. With these 2, they are character styles. Don't just put the cursor in it and double click. You need to select the whole thing because it's only going to apply to what you have selected. So 2 different ways to apply a style. If it's a paragraph style, anywhere in the paragraph will do. If it's a character style, you must select the whole thing. But now when you go into it, the styles are mapped to the content. So this then becomes our master style guide. And what I would be putting in there is explanations and sizes, because it's all very well looking at it, but I'd have to, before I know what size this heading 1 is, I have to click in it. So I might put underneath it with another style, what the font is, what the size is, whether it's bold or not. Just depends on what level you want to do this to. Now, if I go back into here, which was our heading 1 file, this was where we just typed in heading 1 and heading 2, they were both black, if you remember, but they've updated. So they updated automatically because the names matched. And in our style guide, we then applied them. That should tell you something. If you want to have 3 or 4 different collections of styles to be applied to text, it's a good idea to name them the same, which you can do. They don't have to look the same, but you can certainly name them the same. So heading 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, I would have that in every file. Highlight primary, highlight secondary, maybe highlight important, or highlight whatever you want to call it, but maybe you've got 6 of them. By calling them the same thing, you make your styles interchangeable. You can have 5, 6 master style guides, and you can import from each one of them in turn and thus change what your text looks like without any of this associated, oh, now I've got to map this to that, by naming them the same. So your first job is not to think what the text should look like. Your first job is to think what collection of styles would benefit me and create those. And as long as the names are right and you stick with the names, the look and feel is secondary, because the look and feel is really simple to change. But it's a long-winded process to go through a document and reapply styles. So it's just getting the style names right first that's the most important. And beyond that, the rest of it is easy. So we now have this master style guide. You'd only really need to update this in terms of adding extra styles as and when we add extra styles. And if we decide that this horrible colour here, this sandy colour, you want to change that. But you don't have to worry about the name, because it's going to be a heading 5, whatever it looks like. And as long as you mark your documents up like that, if I totally changed all of these and decided, I need to share this with somebody and they'll go mad if it's not just black, then I would still mark it up as heading 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. All I would need to do is redefine the heading as being black. So it's the name of the style that's the most important thing. And then you can automatically, or certainly a lot faster, you can change the definition of the style and the whole document updates. And remember that the secondary use of this is during compile. So you might want all your headings bright pink when you're working with them, but when you export them, you want them black, and you can do that. So let's see if we can actually see that in here. We might be able to, or we might not. It depends. Can we duplicate one? Let's duplicate and edit in here. Now, I'm not going into compile today, but this is where you do magic with it, and styles is an option. So let's get rid of that so we can see it, because it's very tiny. Right, what you can do in here, if there's styles in this document and you've got the styles listed, you could choose, if a style was called delete me, to delete the text that's formatted with that style. You can apply it to only single paragraphs. You can put something before and after it. This is how I mark it up in HTML. So the styles are important both for you to look at them during the creation of your work, but also afterwards in compile when you come to do magic things with it. Trust me on this, it's important. Right, Patricia says, how does Scrivener know the difference? Know the difference between what? The character and... You definitely need to be more than 480, Patricia. Do you mean the difference between paragraph styles and character styles, or the difference between something else? Let me know difference between what, and I will have a drink. It's very annoying waiting for YouTube to catch up with us, isn't it? I'm sure it'll get there in the end. But if you let me know what, I will sort that out with you. But that's how I do it. I do create a style guide. I tend to use the same styles all the time, we do have a few extras for MacBites. We decided to change the headings on MacBites because a heading could mean a section of the show, it could be a subsection of the show, it could be a title within a piece we're doing. So I put in extra styles for that. Oh, right, I noticed you had more than one heading 1 in the paragraph styles. Right, which one was that? Let's bring these up. Show the styles panel. Right, not that one I'm presuming, and not that one I'm presuming. Was it the MacBites one? Not that one either. That one is my course creation. Hence that one has instruction, intro, outro, notes. This one's got different things in it. I do have one where I've got more than like these, but they've got different names. So they've got different names. That's how it works in terms of it knowing the difference. So the thing is, this up here isn't very wide. So this bit here that we've got is not that wide. And if you've got a heading and you've got something with it, so it's simple enough if you've got a heading 1. But if I then assign to that another one, then what happens up here is heading 2 plus highlight dash. And it doesn't really matter how much wider I make that, I'm not really going to be able to read it. Even if I go into here. Now if I go into here, I will see something. I'll see a tick next to each style that is applied. You can only have one paragraph style applied, but you can have multiple character styles applied. So you'll see a plus and all the rest of it. So there should be one tick in the paragraphs and then maybe more than one down here. But they all have different names. Now the other thing that I would do in here is our heading 2 and heaven knows what else that's going on in here. Oh, we've done weird stuff now, haven't we? Oh, and the other thing is when you're taking styles away, you might need to go no style twice. So if I just undo that, show you again, you got 2 styles applied. So clicking no style takes away one style, but you have to click twice to take away the other. And then I should be able to apply that and make it look like I want. But it's far easier to work because virtually every other app known to mankind uses Command Option 1, Command Option 2 and Command Option 3 for applying headings, except Scrivener. But if I go and right click and redefine, or I can choose a different shortcut key. But these are already in use. 1, 2 and 3 are already in use. This one's on 4 and heading 2 is on 5. That makes no sense. It's difficult with one hand, so don't do it. These, I'm going to use these much less than I use the headings. So I want to remap this to 1. And it warns you, and I say, yep, I do want to change it. I know exactly what I'm doing. Leave me to it. So this one here, change the shortcut to 2. I know. And that one to 3. There we go. I have one on Command Option and 9 on MacBites, but I know my shortcuts. So now, if I'm in here and I use the shortcut, there's a 2 and a 1 or a 3, and I can do it with the shortcut keys that I've allocated to it. Now, obviously, there is a lot more to styles. That's why I have a whole course on it. But that is, honestly, that's a really good grounding and the basics in it. In terms of the practicalities of it, make a new file, set all your styles up in it. In fact, go crazy. Put styles in it that you may not, make it your major style library that you may not have in every file, because it's easier to delete them when you transfer them to a secondary file than it is to add them all later. So your master file, which we had, there's our master style guide. Our master style guide should have all of the styles in it that we need. Would you ever need more than one Scrivener file that is your master style guide? Yes, because you may want to redefine a heading 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you could have 6 of these for 6 different jobs that you do. But it's still worth having a master style guide, because when you make your next file, you will import them from here. So I'm going to close this guide down, and I'm going to close that one down. And we'll create a new file, an entirely new file. It's picking these up that you're seeing from the MacBites one that's open on the other screen. But we're going to make a blank one and pretend that this is you making a completely new file. So work file 1. And it will have in it the styles, the Scrivener defaults, which are these. But you have a master file and you want to import them from there. So before you do anything else, you would go and import the styles and choose where they are coming from. And there is the master style guide. And hit import. It will warn you about the 2 headings, but I'm going to replace the existing. And there are all the styles ready for you before you start. And now, as soon as you start typing things in, the styles will be available for you to use. In fact, I don't even need to use that. What have you done? No, I want you there. That's right. One thing that I've noticed with that, I just tried formatting that and it set the defaults back. So that's an issue. The best way to do it is with a template. But remember that a template is 2 things. A template is the styles, but it's also the content of the file. So like a research folder that you've got and any other folder, so a templates folder, a bookmarks folder. A template is better for this. 1, because of the contents, and 2, although we imported these and the import worked perfectly, look at the shortcuts. And the shortcuts are back to the default. So to save us having to remap them, if we set up these styles and then create a template, that would be the best all-round solution. But to explain that, we'd need to go through the whole process of doing it because it's a multi-step thing and it's using different features of the application. And tonight we're just looking at styles. But hopefully that will be a good grounding in it for you. And if you want to know any more about it, there is my styles course that tells you everything you would need to know. So let's come out of there and go into there. Oh no, I've got issues with that. Right, it's a course that I did a couple of years back now, and I focused on just styles, and I think it's about an hour 40, so it's all about styles, everything you could need to know. And that is the link that you need for it. egiles.me. Mike will put that in there. You know where it is, don't you, Mike?
I've just put it in.
Oh, he's on top form tonight. You are. You're on top form tonight. Right, I've got no idea now whether this is going to work. I don't like things like that because I've got the unboxing and I want to unbox, but it's just told me it's not working. So what I'm going to need to do is come out of here. Oh, they're all out tonight, aren't they? Let's just whip you over there where I can work out what's wrong with this thing I'm trying to record with. Right, you can't Camtasia it, you're going to have to ScreenFlow it. Right, let's configure the recording again. Right, I can see it, you can see it, why won't you record it? No, I don't want you to record that anyway. I don't know why you were trying. Right, preparing to record. 1, 2... Not moaning! Awesome! Awesome! Right, this might just work. Okay, I need to swap sides. So, let's see if you can see what I can see. Ooh, that's looking hopeful. You can't quite see the water, but there's the gin and tonic that's not, it's water. And let's get that out of the way. And we have a toy. I haven't even seen this toy yet. But it's here. It was. There we go. It's a small toy, isn't it? But trust me, I hope you're going to enjoy this toy. Let's move that so you're a bit nearer. Right. I read an article about this toy the other day, and I think it's brand new. There was a different version of it, an older version, but this version, I do believe, is brand new. Somebody, not a million miles away, that would be Mike, may be very interested in this. You may be very interested in this. But Mike in particular may be interested in this.
Oh, is it lightning cables?
No, it's not lightning cables, Mike. Look at this, Mike. Let's get it the right way around. There we go. It's a pencil.
Oh.
Mike's lost his pencil.
I've not lost it. It's in one of 3 places.
He's lost it. If you don't know which of the 3, then I can assure you it's lost. No,
That drawer, or next door drawer.
It's not in Lola's treat drawer, or if it is, she's eaten it. This is an Apple Pencil, only it's not an Apple Pencil, as you can see. It's a replacement for the Apple Pencil.
Just what I need in that case.
Exactly, because it works on more iPads than the Apple Pencil does, and it's £22.50 instead of £130. So, there you go. It's very different to the Apple one, but let's have a look. I haven't had a chance to sneak peek it or anything yet. So let's get in there. It's going to be awkward. Let's get the scissors. Right. Big scissors. Okay, let's get in there. It got excellent reviews. So I thought to myself, I have 4 Apple Pencils. Ages ago, I showed you my magic Apple Pencil case. Oh, this is where all the tiny tech lives. Look, all of it. Oh, so much tech. I've got recharging things like this. I've got adapters. So much tiny tech lives in there, including 3 pencils. So, Renee's bound to want it. Right, let's have a look at it. It's not Bluetooth. It doesn't need to connect to the device.
Can I interrupt the unboxing?
Oh, look! He's found his pencil! That'll be dead then.
Yeah.
Right. So here we go. Ooh, it actually looks quite nice. So let's get in here. Do you want to post the link in for people, Mike? Right, what's in here? Oh, we got 2 tiny tips to replace it. They do sell these. They're not the Apple ones. You get 6 in a packet for about £6.50. So there are 2 extra tips in there. It also comes in black if you want a black one. That's the charging cable, which is unique to this. So standard sized USB at one end and a magnetic thing at the other that the entire pencil goes into. That's it for in there. So now we're on to this bit here, which is the actual sexy pencil. Oh, that feels nice. That does. It's got a flat side where the name is. And let's have an iPad, 2018 iPad. It is supposed to be magnetic. It doesn't charge, but there you go. It is magnetic. It sticks to it. And does it fall off? No, it doesn't fall off. Awesome. Oh, it did just fall off. That was because I was moving it, I think. Right, so it does stick to the side, just like the Apple one. I'm presuming this says it's magnetic. Yep. You might hear that if I put it next to the microphone. Little click there as it went on. That's a nice charging way to charge. There we go. I don't know if there's any juice in it at the moment. So the end bit where you hold it is nice. It's more like Pencil 2. This bit at the top is more like Pencil 1. So you've got the best of both worlds with that. The only thing it doesn't have, I believe, is the tap to change to an eraser. So I don't know if there's any juice in it. Shall we give it a go? I've got an iPad there, and let's go into this. Let's get myself a notebook. Oh, good grief. Need to go right to the end of that notebook. This is my 2021 notebook, so you can imagine. There's lots of stuff in it. Right, there's my iPad. I've no idea if I've got to turn it on or anything. I haven't tried. I clearly need to do something with it. I wonder what.
I don't think it's compatible with mine, is it?
How old's your iPad? Ah, little blue light. So there is an on-off at the top, little blue light. Still not sure what I'm supposed to be doing with this. Does that mean it needs charging? Or do I need to do something else? I should read the instructions, shouldn't I? That'd be a good start. Is there any separate instructions? Oh, there is. Right, we've got a nice little thank you card. Right, what do I need to do? Power button. Magnetic charging port. Power on, blue. Charging, red. Okay. Indicator light. POM plastic tip, whatever that is. Charging port, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to right. Here's what it's compatible with. It is compatible with the iPad Air 3rd Gen, the iPad Air 4th Gen, the iPad Mini 5th Gen, the iPad Pro 11. That's not the one I'm using it with. The iPad Pro 11 2nd Gen, the iPad 6th Gen. Have you lost track of these?
2018 and later.
He's distraught now because this is 2017. But you found your other pencil now.
Yeah.
The 2028th Gen, the iPad the 12.9 inch 3rd Gen and above, and the 4th Gen, which I think is the one I've got, isn't it? An iPad later models. Right, so I just need to work out how to actually get it to work now then. Oh, night, Patricia. Is there an eraser end? No, the on-off switch is at the end. Let me see if this is sticking. That is sticking. I think I had it too high. Where did I have it? I think I had it up there. Right, it is sticking. It is definitely sticking. That actually does look nicer than the Apple one. Now, where did I put my Apple one?
Oh, you've lost your Apple one.
No. You know where I put it, which is stupid. I put it in my pencil case with my other pencils. Now, see, that way madness lies. Pete lost his doing that. Well, actually, Mrs. Pete lost it for him. There we go. There's the Apple one. This is pencil 2. One of my pencil 2s. So how does it compare to that? The Apple one is fractionally longer. So can you see that there? It is fractionally longer, about 0.5 centimetre. But I would say, stickability-wise, about the same, but in a fractionally different place. If you put it on from the bottom, it sticks. There we go. So it's equally as stickable as the Apple one. I just need to make it work. Right, so do I know? I didn't think it did need to pair, but it might need to pair. Let's have a look what it says about using it. How to charge it. FAQs. Compatible with the iPad. Must be on 12.2. So 12.2 or above. Oh, right, okay. Let's see if that works. I'm not quite sure where that went. Oh, I think I'm going to have to test this, aren't I? It doesn't work with Bluetooth, I know that. It definitely said that. Might need to charge. That might be the issue. I've no idea. But it's nice to look at. So I need to charge it and then work out how to make it work. You might need... Let me try one thing. That might solve all the problems that we've got. Right, there we go. All done. Right, let's try it now. Where have you disappeared to? There we go. Right, so... Can we see the iPad? We can see the iPad. We can also see the light, can't we? Right. I'm going to need a tool first. I've got the eraser tool. There we go. Hey! I do! It's alive! It's working. Shall I try and write something? Right, we need a thicker pencil than that, I think. And we need to get rid of all of that. So that's gone. Right. We can have it round that way so we can sort of see it. And get the pencil. There you go. Was in the house. And apart from my hideous writing, there you go. So no, it doesn't need to pair. Which is great. That was one of the things when I read in the notes, that you can use it on multiple iPads without the need to pair it. Oh! I'm happy with that. Your iPad already has a pencil connected. Yeah, what I've done is I've turned the Bluetooth off just for the speed of it. Get rid of it. Mike doesn't have this problem because his is dead. So
it's charging.
It's charging now. No, it works and it works fine. So let's try the thicker one.
The pencil.
There we go. Hello world. You've got to hello world, haven't you? That is equally as good as the Apple Pencil. I mean, there might be something in it, nuanced as you try and go. It doesn't have pressure sensitivity. But there again, it's £22.50, and if I lost it while I was out, I wouldn't be worried, would I? I mean, obviously, when I'm out, oh, those were the days.
More likely to lose it in the bed.
I am, actually, yeah. I did leave it in the bed once, and Mike found it in a most uncomfortable way. It was all right when we desanitised it. No, I'm happy with that. I like that. Plus the fact that there's a black one. So, you might as well have one of both colours. How's Renee going to choose? How's the lag? There is no lag. None at all. It feels exactly the same as the Apple one. I've got another one. What was the brand of that? I had this one before the Apple Pencil, so this has been here years. And it's one that I use on the phone. That one there, what's the brand of it? That little silver one. What brand were you? God, it doesn't say. Oh, was it? It began with an A. And it's got that logo on it at the top. And this one wasn't bad, but it never compared to the Apple Pencil. But that one feels just like the Apple Pencil. And I would say it feels more like Apple Pencil 2 because you've got this grip bit at the bottom and you've got the smooth bit at the top, and it does really stick to it. It would also probably... So this is my iPad 2021 M1. If we take out the Apple Pencil that's attached to that, does it actually fit in there? Let's see if it does. It does. There's a bit of a gap at that end because it's fractionally shorter. What would be good on that end if you could put... This is what I do with Pencil 1, and it's the one thing that's missing from Pencil 2. So let's get out a Pencil 1. I upgraded my pencil. That's why I've got this bag of bits. Seriously, this is the bag of bits that I don't particularly use. I mean, obviously I use that charging port thing. But an Apple Pencil, I upgraded it. So this is what I call an Apple Pencil Pro. I changed the end. So obviously the charging thing's at the end. But instead of it having the one that came from Apple, which is just this stupid thing that you'll lose. This was on After Hours episode 2, I think. This thing, that came with it. So that goes on there. Useless. So I changed it for that end. You can get like 6 in a packet for about £2.50. And then it becomes a standard stylus with the rubber bit on the end, which was great. Loved that. But obviously when Pencil 2 came out, Pencil 2 didn't have the ability to do that. And it doesn't look like this one would either, because it doesn't need it and the on-off switch is at the end. But that's really nice. Renee, you need to buy one. Oh, you're going to think you're going to stick to Apple. You're not. Something's going to happen and you're going to be thinking like me that a spare pencil never hurt anybody. There is no lag at all. Kim says it'd be good for when you lose it. As long as you've got an iPad that it works with, to me that's something that I would have as an extra. Because you never know when the Apple Pencil's going to stop working. You can, as I said, get tips for it. The tips are virtually identical. I wouldn't try and use an Apple one, and I wouldn't maybe try and use one of theirs on an Apple Pencil. But they're cheap enough to have in as spares. So let's have a look. I believe it unscrews. So you can see it coming away. And there's already 2 in the bag, and you can buy them in 6s. It's the best alternative pencil I've ever tried. And the other one that I bought was way more expensive than that. So £22.50, absolute bargain, just to have as a spare. In fact, you know what I'm thinking, Mike?
What?
Your mother could actually have a pencil then. Because she balked at the cost of the pencil. But she wouldn't balk at that. There's a nice Christmas present for her. See? Already sorted. I do wish that I could put something on the other end. Because I do. The only problem I've got with it is when I turn it round. So when I turn my Pencil 1 round and I'm tapping at the screen with the other end, it still thinks the pencil's attached and the scribble goes into play, which is nothing but a pain in the backside, to be honest. So yes, I'm happy with that. That's rather impressive. To me, there's no difference between it. It's got the tilt on it, so I can see this that I've written at the bottom there, where it says Apple, is thicker than at the top. So the tilt's there. Let's see. We make that much thicker? Let's take that up. Yeah, I don't see any difference between that and the Apple one. It's very nuanced. Maybe if you're a pro artist and you're using specific brushes on it and stuff. But to me, no. I could definitely happily use that. And that is much more cost effective. So I'm happy with that. Oh, first Renee wants an iPhone 13. No. No, leaving that, going for the 14 probably. Carol's iPad's too old. An iPad Air 4, let me have a look. I'm sure it just mentioned that. Let's have a look. iPad Air 4. Yep, it's supported. It supports iPad Air 3 and 4. There it is. That's the list at the top. So now you should be all right. Oh, let's have a look. It does say it will work with it. It will be fine. Oh, Renee, Pro Max. No, definitely next year's toy. Next year's toy. I don't find that much difference between the Pro and the Pro Max. But who knows? So yes, Carol, you could give that a whirl, couldn't you? £22.50. Don't forget to click the button for the discount. As long as it's still showing. It was showing before. I think the normal price is £25. But yeah, I can never have too many pencils because you never know when you might lose one, do you, Mike?
No. I'm saying nothing.
No, that's just as well. Oh, heaven help us. Now I don't know which is which. Oh, good grief. Let's try in there. Right, I think that one belongs in there. I'm going to get all my pencils mixed up, do I? Oh, so quite an interesting unboxing that. I only spotted it the other day, and it was a review that I saw first, and then I went to have a look at the price. And because the review didn't mention the price, and I thought, well, that's a bit silly, isn't it? The review not mentioning the price. And then when I was thinking probably about the £60 mark, and when I saw the price, I thought, oh, well, we'll be testing that then, won't we? So, yeah, there we go. Pencil, and it comes in black. Be rude not to have one of each, wouldn't it? Be very rude, that. But I always wonder, the thing is, if you want it to be white, so it looks like the Apple one, and people think you've got the real one, but black might suit your setup better. So there we go. So, hope you enjoyed the unboxing there. Right, let's get back into here, where you disappeared to. Up you go again. And, yeah, that's what comes with it in the box. It feels right. It feels nice. It feels well made. The charging, I've not tried charging it, obviously, but because there's a bit of charge in it, I don't know how much. But it feels right as it clips onto the end with the magnet attached. So that feels good. There's the models it supports. So, yep, your iPad Air 3rd and 4th gen. I wish it put the years on it. Because the iPad Pro you've got's the 2nd gen, isn't it? So you're 1 gen off it working. Yeah. Annoying. But there you go. So it does have tilt sensitivity. It's the pressure sensitivity it doesn't have. But to me, unless you're an artist, you're not going to notice the difference. Trust me on that. So blue when you're using it. Charging time's not bad at all. Again, you know, your pencil might just die on you. You might need another one. You can never have too many pencils. I have turned the palm rejection on now, I think. So I'll see how that goes. And it does attach perfectly. It does. I'd definitely use it for note taking because particularly if I were going out, I would always be concerned about. I'm showing you this and you're not seeing it. Hang on. Let me go back to there. That's what you need to be seeing. Right. There we go. That's what you should be seeing. So that's what ships with it. That's what's supported. I'm surprised it doesn't go back to the 2nd gen. I am. But
Debbie wants the link for the zippered case.
Oh, good grief. Right, I'll find that. So this is what I was saying about the tilt sensitivity. I'm not concerned about pressure sensitivity because I wouldn't lean that hard on my iPad anyway. It'd only break it. So I had it with the blue light. I don't know how long it would. Well, it says 1 hour charge time, so I'm guessing it would be fully charged within an hour. So I'll see how long it takes. I have sent that up. It feels no different than the Apple one, and it feels no different than the Apple one attached to it either. So I can see myself using it. Probably. Well, I don't do much drawing anyway. Particularly note taking is mine. So what do we have coming up? Or do you want me to go and find that first? I'll find the link. It should be in the show notes, shouldn't it? I mean, whatever episode we did it in. We are back with you next week, when it will be October. How did this happen? I know I say it every time, but on the upside, And by October, it should be really cold. And I like it cold. So, we are available on demand. You will find us at youtube.com/ElaineGiles. We have a dedicated playlist. So if you're looking for something, there are each video in the playlist, and that is added as soon as we've finished. Each video in the playlist has links underneath it with timestamps. We can't put those in until Saturday afternoon, because Saturday morning YouTube just has a fit, doesn't it? All the time. So Saturday morning's not good with YouTube, but by Saturday afternoon it's usually up there. And you can get to that playlist at macbites.co.uk/afterhours playlist. Then there's the fun we will have on Tuesday when we will premiere the next MacBites. MacBites FM at 8 o'clock. Don't miss it. Oh, we have fun with that. We love you guys. If you love us, can you give us a like? Because it really makes a difference with YouTube. Then there is the VIP mailing list, where you get first dibs on everything that I am doing. Might have something to announce on there, pretty big shortly. So don't miss it. And then there's the MacBites list, where you will find out about all things MacBites. macbites.co.uk/MacBites-mail. And in the week, in Slack, you'll be able to see Renee's holiday photos. Because I'm reckoning that's going to be big this week.
It's not letting go.
It's where we carry on the conversation. And you will be most welcome to join us at macbites.co.uk/Slack. Okay, right. I'll have you look at that while I try and find the link for the case.
It's in episode 2 show notes.
There you go then.
But I just can't paste it in because it's huge.
Oh.
And trying to get to Bitly, you've got to sign up for an account.
You know, I always say you can never accuse Mike of being ready for anything. Right.
I thought Bitly. Oh, you can.
Right. Hang on. Right. Pencil case. No pencil case. It must be ages ago I bought that. I don't see it there.
Just search Notion for 0002. Or just go.
Is it a hippie wee?
No, it's an note holder case.
Looks like there's two. Okay, I'll go to Notion against my better judgment, and I will find MacBites After Hours Show 2.
If we're talking about the same case, that is.
Oh, 2. Go on, you can find it. There you go, MacBites After Hours Show 2. Content, cables and the Apple Pencil case. So if you want to see the whole shebang, it's in there. Right, so where's the link?
It's about the 6th one down after the Donald Trump toilet brush.
Oh, there's two. One's £20, one's not available, so there's no point looking at that, and I think I paid £8.99, so that's absolutely outrageous. But something like this is what you want, so let me get that in the chat. There we go. Something like that is what you want. Excellent, Renee. We shall look forward to living vicariously via you. And since Switzerland is the home of Toblerone, we expect photos of Toblerone. You don't think, Kim, that Mike's got drop zone set up to that degree, do you? Not a chance. Not a chance. Did my link come through? Can you see my link? Yay! Success. And if you want to see it, Debbie, was it Debbie that asked?
Yeah, it was Debbie.
Yeah, if you want to see it, it's in show 2. So go to the playlist all the way back down to show 2, and it was at the end. Or I think it was at the end. But there'll be timestamps there. It'll be fine. It'll all be organised. Trust me. Trust me on that. So I'm going to be playing with my pencil. That was definitely worthwhile, wasn't it, Mike? Oh, yes, definitely. You're very welcome, Debbie. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody else has enjoyed it. Any last-minute questions? Any last-minute suggestions? Renee's found Lindor. How much is it there? Scary beans.
Night, Zimbop.
Night, Simon. He's incognito.
I know it's Simon.
We'll have to guess which one he's in as each week. You have to come in as somebody different. But you know, if you come in after about 10:30, you could be young Jonathan. I think he's nodded off. Don't wake him. Don't disturb him. He's had a busy, busy day, has young Jonathan. Oh, Debbie, show 2. Oh, it'll be complete disorganised chaos. What's the difference?
Kim remembers the toilet brush.
Oh, the Donald Trump toilet brush. It was just fabulous. I loved that. Oh, Carol's got a pencil on the way. Excellent. Oh, fingers crossed for you. Fingers crossed for you. Okay, so we will head off. I definitely need something to eat. When you were doing your Excel, I was not well at all, as you could probably tell by the look of me.
Yeah.
Hence needing water, more water. Switzerland is extremely expensive. I've heard there are some odd places that are expensive. I mean, Switzerland makes sense that it's expensive. But one that I heard was Iceland. And apparently people were wanting to go there, Iceland and the far reaches of Norway, I think, for the photography, the amazing photography opportunities that they get.
They do home delivery now.
Iceland? Oh, right. Don't think they deliver the Borealis thing.
Mums go to Iceland.
Oh, don't. But apparently they are really expensive. And I wouldn't have expected that. But obviously supply and demand, and if people want to go and take photos and stuff, then I'm not surprised. Debbie can't wait to see the toilet brush. Oh, it was a classic. I'm looking back now. There was Donald Trump toilet paper, wasn't there, that Nina got for her mum for Christmas. And it literally had like all Donald Trumpisms on it. But the brush was just a classic. And the girl that made it, she only did it as like, I've made this, and it's a giggle for social media. And orders started coming in and she couldn't fill them fast enough. It literally is a toilet brush with Donald Trump's hair as the brush end. And it's a classic. I think that was part of the title of the show, wasn't it? Johnny's had a busy day. Don't be getting at Johnny. He's had a busy day and he needs his rest. Johnny's an early bird. If I had to get up at the time Jonathan got up, I wouldn't be awake now, would I?
Trumping toilets.
Trumping toilets was what we called it. I remember it well. Good show. And back then we were only doing 2 shows. That was the second and final show. Oh, but our public demanded more. That's you guys.
There you go. I just clicked on the link and it just happened to be on the toilet brush.
There you go. You will not want to miss the toilet brush. Best kit ever. Oh, it was a classic, that. Shows 1 to 6, we didn't run the show with the presentation. We ran the show from like a series of post-it notes on the desk. And it was not unusual to like miss something. Seriously. That was when the presentation came in. Oh, you've sent the Linda on WhatsApp. Excellent, Renee. I should be having a look at that. I will. Oh, I wonder what the price of them is this week. Mind you, it's too warm. We need it a lot cooler. We've had a bit of a weird week here, haven't we, with the local facilities, let's just say that. Oh, and I needed to tell you about a dog as well, and to not go to Danewell Park. But I didn't know where Danewell Park was, so I wasn't concerned. There's a dog on the loose in Danewell Park.
What, right now?
No, some woman is taking a dog for a walk. A bull mastiff. Which, they can be really sweet, but they look like a demon from hell, don't they? They look like the Hound of the Baskervilles. Only this woman can't control this dog. And this dog attacked 2 people they were walking their dogs. The guy picked up one of the dogs. The woman picked up the other. Only she wasn't tall enough to stop this bull mastiff having a go at this dog, so she had to jump on a bench. This couple were stood in that position when the woman arrived who owned the bull mastiff and put a muzzle on it. She didn't even say sorry. But they put it on our M33 group on Facebook and it exploded with other people saying, if that was it a white dog, that's what happened to me, blah, blah, blah. I think it's called whatever. And this woman just keeps taking this dog for a walk with no control over it and unmuzzled. But she has a muzzle with her for when it has a go at one of the dogs. But one dog it had a go at, this was about the 3rd or 4th person in this chain of replies, said that their dog had been attacked. Somebody pinged them into it and said, isn't this the dog that attacked your dog? And this lady came back and said, it sounds very much like it. My dog needed over £500 of vet treatment and the woman didn't even say sorry, much less offer vet treatment. So they went to the police and the police weren't interested. I thought you would be interested if it had attacked a policeman, but that's where we're at. So
It's
don't go wherever that is. When you find out where it is, don't go there, Mac.
It's down the road.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I do believe Lindor is gluten-free. I think so, but I'm not sure. So at least some of it must be. Maybe not all of it. I don't find it likely, Renee, but if you find any berry black pudding while you're there, that would be good, because we can't get that here. But there again, we can't get petrol either, so it's like living in a third world country here at the moment. At least there's one thing in our favour. Boris has disappeared off to the States. So if you could possibly keep him there, if you're in the States, would you like to do a swap? Mind you, that's not saying much, is it? Could we swap them for somebody more useful? Somebody from history who did a bit of good. Because the ones we've got now are shocking. So yeah, if he never comes back, it'll be too soon. But I fear he might come back, so dear me. There's talk of a general election. I don't know how either, because we've got a Fixed Term Parliament Act. So the next one shouldn't be until December 2024. No, 2023. But he said be on the alert for an autumn election. Why? It's only 2 years since the last one. I mean, obviously I know why, because he thinks he's going to win it. Let's see how that goes. I need to wait. Do you know that Donald Trump toilet brush could just as easily double for a Boris toilet brush?
This is true.
It would need very little alteration to work for that. Right, okay then. If you have no more questions and no more suggestions for next week, then I'm going to head off. Because it's going to be a busy old week because we've got book club starting next weekend as well with 3 books. So I need to get ahead on my reading, don't I? But for the moment, I'm going to say good night from me.
And good night from me.
And we will both see you next time. Have the most fabulous week, guys.